on behalf.
Seems like every time we do a live show, we got to go through a little bit of that first.
Why not? It's always a good time, right? We got to have some feedback or whatever.
Practice. Boy, it's always a fun time coming to you live. This is the 31st Lap Live, coming to you from the Seneca Lake Duck Hunters Association. Coming to you live. We're doing a live remote here with the 31st Lap. We had Thursday off. We took the show on the road for this. Just wanted to welcome everybody to the program. We've got Mike Mallett here live with us, and also John Balmas made the trip out. So, guys, welcome.
How are we doing today, Chris?
We're doing good. As soon as we can figure out where that noise is coming from, we should be in good shape.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, little by little.
It is what it is.
Hopefully everybody can hear us. We should be good.
I don't know. I can hear you, so I'll assume that we're good.
Yeah, everything looks like it should be just fine. You know, everything's streaming out there. We're recording it through
YouTube live stream and every other possible combination that we have.
Everything that we try to do always seems to come out well. Once again, welcome to the 31st Lap Live, coming to you from the Seneca Lake Duck Hunters Association here in Penn Yan. Lots of news coming out from Area Auto Racing News right off the top, the top 10 drivers in the last 50 years, and boy, if this is not a polarizing list.
It's a fun list to talk about. You know, you can see the debate, but if you didn't pay attention, Brett Hearn named the greatest driver in the past 50 years of Area Auto Racing News. Richie Evans came in second.
Yep.
Billy Pouch was third. Frankie Schneider ended up in the fourth spot. Kenny Brightbill ended up ranked fifth. Fred Raymer was ranked sixth. Dickie Tobias was ranked seventh. Jimmy Horton ranked eighth. Will Cagle ranked ninth. And then the doctor, Danny Johnson, ranked 10th. Now, you know, we can sit here and we can talk, we can debate, and that's really what I want to do with it. You know, Brett Hearn, 800 career wins. He's won Super Dirt Week more times than anybody. He's won Eastern States, more times than most. He's won the Lebanon Valley Mr. Dirt Track USA race. He's won the Lebanon Valley 200. I mean, he has won every major race. And now we can even add the Outlaw 200 to that at Fulton. So it's tough. It's tough to argue against it, but I think I can make the argument today.
You do?
I think I can.
Well, I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, you want to hear this? Okay. Now, Richie Evans, undeniably.
Well, first, you're going to make an argument. Who do you think should be there?
I'm not going to make the argument for Richie Evans. I believe that he is where he should be.
Okay.
I have no problem with him being second. I could see him being first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But my argument will be for Billy Pouch. Okay, now here's why I say Billy Pouch, okay? He won the Williams Grove National Open in a 410 sprint car.
Yes.
He won the World of Outlaws race at the mile. Okay, he's won at Syracuse. He's won the Race of Champions event on pavement. Okay?
Yep.
He's got nearly 700 career wins, multiple track championships, Flemington, Windsor, New Egypt, you name it, he's got championships there. To me, the resume, he doesn't have 800 wins, but he's got 700, and he's done it on every different surface, every type of car he can drive.
Yes. He's got diversity.
Yeah, okay, so what's your argument then?
He's got diversity.
He's got diversity. I think that to me...
No, I'm not arguing with you. I agree with what you're saying on that.
That to me means more than 800 wins in a modified. No offense, again, Brett Hearn, I have no problem with him winning it. None at all. But if you're going to make an argument for somebody else, I like the argument for Billy Pouch.
Brett Hearn's still winning races, and he's fresh in everybody's mind. I mean, that's basically one of the big selling points on him.
Yeah, I mean, this was voted on in the past year, obviously. This is the 50th year of Area Auto Racing News. It was announced this past weekend out at the Motorsports Expo. So, of course, Brett Hearn, he's a living legend. He's racing weekly. Everybody gets to see his name regular in the highlights. Billy Pouch didn't have a spectacular season this year. He didn't have the dominant New Egypt performance that we expect from Billy Pouch.
No, and in recent years, that's really all that he's done is dominate New Egypt.
Right, and but again, you look.
But it's not about recent years. It's about the entire coverage of the
last
paper.
50 years. Exactly. You look at the last 50 years. I mean, there's people that wanted Richie Evans, and I see the argument there. But the problem you get is Richie Evans
over the first half
of the
of
paper,
the lifetime of the paper.
no doubt Richie
Sure.
Evans would be the man. That's right.
But not. What about the last 25 or
well, obviously,
plus?
Obviously we have you can't have anything there because unfortunately he
Right,
passed away.
and that, that is unfortunate. But it's about the 50 years of coverage of the life of the paper.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough for that. A lot of people.
Me personally, for Richie Evans to be ranked second, I think that's remarkable. That says that he did a lot in a short period of time in the life of the paper.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. He did a lot in his career in the past 50 years. Obviously, and then Pouch Frank. The other guy I could make the argument for, and again, I like the diversification of a resume. Most people know I'm not the biggest Fred Raymer supporter out there, but I can make an argument for Fast Freddie Raymer, considering he had nearly 100 modified wins on the Central Pennsylvania circuit.
358 small block modifieds. He dominated
right, and he
in
is
the early
currently
80s.
the winningest driver at the Lincoln Speedway and the Williams Grove Speedway. So to me, those two things that's pretty impressive when you've done it in both. Jimmy Horton, he's got some ARCA wins. That's
won a lot of ARCA
impressive
races.
too. So it's tough to narrow it down.
And he's won in sprints.
Right. So, but my argument will always go back to, I would have voted for Billy Pouch. That would have been my vote as number one. Some people may not have voted that way, but that would have been where I would have went with my vote. Would have went to Billy Pouch. I mean, you guys obviously have your own opinion. You like Hearn.
I think they got the pick right. I'm not necessarily saying the top 10 is right, but I think the first pick is right.
What about Billy Pouch? The fans here. What do you think? Who do you think should have got the doctor?
He wants
He wants the
doctor.
The doctor. No, who would you want? Who do you want?
Alan Johnson not on the list.
Alan, he was on the list. He just didn't make the top 10.
Exactly.
That's right.
You got the wrong Johnson.
I think that the thing. Yeah, I think the reason.
No, the one missing I'm talking about.
I think the reason Jimmy Horton makes the list is because of ARCA and what he did on the pavement, which is impressive compared to some other guys that never went anywhere. They stayed in the Northeast and ran dirt modifieds. Again, I'm not taking anything away from guys that did that, but it's impressive that Horton could go and he could go to ARCA and what he went 4 races in a row one year or something like that. He was dominant.
The restrictor plate races.
Right, so you have to give him some credit. That's impressive. We don't get to talk about. I mean, we've talked about Steve Kinsley going to race IROC. We've had Hearn. He went and tried ARCA. All these guys, though, what did they do? They end up coming back.
Yeah.
But Horton obviously made it go. And plus, he's the only guy to go out of Daytona. Wasn't it Daytona or Talladega?
Talladega went
out of the ballpark. So, I mean, hey, that to me gets you in the top 10. I mean, that's something nobody gets to do, okay? But
you hope not.
You hope not.
I don't think that was the goal.
Right. No, obviously not. Obviously not. So, we have all that. I mean, I can't argue against Hearn. I can argue for Billy Pouch, but Hearn, 800-plus wins. I mean, they're all documented. It's impressive. It's an impressive resume.
I certainly understand the argument for Pouch because I like the diversity myself. I love a driver that can get in anything.
I mean, if anything, he won in midgets too. So you should.
Yeah, he won a couple of prelim nights at the Chili Bowl.
Right. So you should.
By all rights, he should have won a Chili Bowl.
Right.
He was leading one year and got a flat tire.
Right.
Under yellow.
Right. So.
But it happens.
I mean,
he's won a wingless sprint race at Grandview. He's won in everything he's ever gotten in. So
if he's driven it,
I love the diversity.
Yeah, I mean, he won on the pavement. He won on the dirt and the pavement at Flemington.
I'm not going to fight your argument because I could go either way, but I really do think that they got it right.
You think they got it right with Hearn? Chris, what'd you think?
I don't know. I mean, I get Brett Hearn. There's some other names that probably could have been on there, but when you limit it to 50 years, it still encompasses a lot of ground that people weren't there. I thought maybe, I think it was Cagle was down there at the bottom.
He was ninth, yeah, which was surprising. That was surprising.
I don't remember now, Jimmy Champagne?
Nope, not on there.
No.
He did not make the top 10.
But again, you got to remember it's the life of the paper.
Right, it's 50 years
of
it's
the not
paper.
Like your favorite, whatever accomplished. It's what the paper has covered.
So what year? Since 1964, is that right?
Jack Johnson Champagne was killed? I don't know.
No.
He was not on the top 10.
He was not in the top 10.
No, he was not.
Jack Johnson did not make the top 10. Alan Johnson didn't make the top 10. Buzzy Ruderman did not make the top 10. I mean, that's a guy that's still racing.
And when you look back over 50 years, he's still racing.
I mean, Gary Ballou.
But again, you got to look. Again, you're narrowing it down.
There's 150 drivers you can name that are missing.
You're talking Northeast. I mean, if you look at the whole list of all the drivers, I believe they started with 60 drivers. If I brought the whole list, you could see where you're.
I told you off the air, my personal pick that should be in the top 10 would be Mike Stefanik.
Right.
The paper covers him. He's been around for a long time.
Right.
He's won umpteen number of NASCAR championships, whether it be the Busch North at that time, He's run a modified tour, obviously,
Well,
seven
I mean, if
times
you're
or
talking
whatever it is.
pavement modifieds, other than Richie Evans, what about, of course, Teddy Christopher?
Right, but
I mean, where's he in the list? I mean, where do you put him? If Stefanik's in, isn't Christopher in?
no,
I mean, isn't he as
because he
impressive?
hasn't accomplished as much. He wins a lot of races. The championships are not there.
Right, well, it's a different era, though, too. I mean, that's the other thing you got to compare when you do something like this. You're comparing eras.
Right.
You're comparing Richie Evans' era to Brett Hearn's era. When was the competition? You can compare the competition, and it maybe Richie's competition wasn't as difficult. The thing you give Richie, for those that argue for Richie, is he would go race on a Sunday afternoon in, say, Connecticut, get on a plane, and fly to Utica to run Utica Rome on a Sunday. I mean, that's impressive. 2 races in a day via plane.
Right.
I mean,
Where his car was already waiting for him.
yeah, I mean, we don't talk about that ever. You don't see Brett Hearn fly. We might call him the corporate jet, but you don't see him getting on a plane.
I'll never take away what he accomplished. My argument about the whole Richie Evans thing is because it's the life of the paper, and his unfortunately was cut short.
Right. That's a tough part.
I mean, that might play in also some of the sentimental value of when you look at him and you try to decide where he would fall on that list. Are you scoring races that he never even had a chance to run?
Right. Well, that's why it impresses me. For over half the life of the paper, he wasn't alive, and he still made the cut. That to me is impressive in itself, just to make the cut.
Yeah. I mean,
because you got to figure Brett's been there for the last 35 plus years.
I mean, I think it's hard to leave Richie Evans out of the top 10. I don't know how you can not. I mean, to me, I think it's a homer deal for me. When you look at where I'm from and you look at, where I work at Utica Rome, so obviously I have some affinity for Richie Evans, considering, all of his accomplishments, his achievements, what he's done. It was impressive. Regardless of what era that was in, it was very impressive.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't, you can't fault anybody in the top 10. I mean, really, you can argue for anybody in the top 10 that they could have won this award. Honestly, I mean, and
I'm still surprised. I'm still surprised Bob McCready wasn't.
Bob McCready's the guy you think should have been
in the top 10. I think.
Every person's going to give you a couple of names that they're surprised with.
Right. And that,
for me, it's Jack Johnson and Mike Stefanik. I think deserve.
But you're going homer pick on the Jack Johnson, which is okay. I mean, that's your favorite driver.
I was 6-time Mr. Dirt champion. The only one win more is Brett Hearn.
Right.
That to me is enough.
No, I don't think so.
Mr. Dirt is a difficult thing to win. Not many people have won it, especially more than 2-3 times.
Right. Okay. I can understand that again, but when you have to encompass all of racing, you can't just look at modified dirt. It's not the dirt modified greatest top 10. It's all.
No, I know,
racing.
and that's why he's not in there. Otherwise, he would be.
Right. Because I mean, you look at the diversification here. I mean, there's pavement guys, there's dirt guys, there's guys that are in pavement and dirt. You know what I mean?
But that's why I said Mike Stefanik deserves to be in there too.
Right. I mean,
because it covers the entire northeast.
Right. So, what do you think? Have we killed that topic now?
Yeah. I just wanted to touch base before we got into our first guest. I know Lance Young is waiting in the wings over here. We'll have to see how the House of Cards hold up when we add a fourth microphone to it. I'm about a split second.
You hoping it works?
Yeah, I'm about a split second away from just unhooking that speaker because it's feeding back.
Is it feeding back real bad?
Yeah, it's feeding back.
So,
making his second visit to the 31st lap, first time in person, Lance Young. Thanks for making the trip out.
No problem. It's a close one today.
Is this the shortest trip to a racing function you had to make this year?
I think this is. For sure.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Lance, how's your off season going? We know you had a pretty good last year. Second ESS points. We've got some major victories though along the way.
Yeah, it was a good year, and a little bit of disappointment there at the end that we didn't get the championship, but we've worked through that and trying to get things ready for next year again. So we'll be good.
So what do you think about next year? You've Kissy saw the preliminary schedule so far for the Empire Super Sprints. What do you think?
I guess I'll have to take a look at it, but from what I've heard, it sounds like it'll be a good year. We were talking earlier, it sounds like only 1 or 2 trips to Canada, so that'll definitely be a plus. And some bigger dollar races in this area, which are definitely going to be good.
Isn't that the part you dread, the trips to Canada?
Oh, everybody dreads it, right?
The tracks up there are beautiful. We love to race on them, but it just
with the
border and the long haul, and it gets old.
Yep.
And now he knows how painful is a border crossing. I mean, with a race car,
especially with a hauler, it's got to be obviously it's completely different going across in your passenger car.
Yeah, it is. With the bigger haulers nowadays, we have to do the same type of paperwork as a commercial trucker, and that's where the problems lay. you know, if you register your vehicle as an RV, you can get rid of some of that. But I'm registered as a tractor trailer, so you know it's an hour's worth of paperwork just to go and to be able to get back. And if you screw up one thing, they'll catch that, and then you got delays. And, you know, that's what takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah. It used to be you just be able to pull up. Where are you going? Racetrack. Okay, have a good one.
Yep.
You know,
where are you going? How long are you going to be there? You know, when you coming back?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
now
you get your 5 questions and you're on your way.
Yeah.
Now it's a bureaucratic BS that you get whenever you do anything. Now,
That's what it is.
You mentioned the high dollar shows. You know, 2 places that we're going this year or 2 races that I'm excited about. First off, ESS going to Sealands Grove. What do you think about that?
I love it.
You like the
know,
idea?
I had a 410 there for a couple years, and probably ran 15 shows down there with a 410, and always liked Sealands Grove, so I can't wait to get back there with a 360.
Place is going to be awesome.
It's going to be.
You know, I just hope our guys beat Pat Cannon. That's what I want. Somebody better beat him.
Well,
He's
you know,
tough
we're going
down
to
there.
try. We're going to try, but you know, all those 358 guys are real tough down there,
Yeah.
so we'll just have to bring our A game and see what we can do.
You know, the second race on the schedule, obviously, I'm excited about is Utica Rome. $7,000 to win. 500 to start. That's a pretty good payday, and plus a place that we're at 3 times during the season.
Yeah, that's going to be an excellent race. You know, it's going to be a very, very good race. I think. You know, these guys coming in, I don't think unless they've been there, they aren't going to realize how slick that place gets. But you know, you can still race on the place. Obviously, we put on some of the best racing there is at that place. You know, you can run 2-3 wide, do the slide jobs. You know, it's really good racing there.
Yeah, Utica. I mean, it's the one place where you can start in the back. And you still got a chance if you can get the setup. And I think that's different than a lot of places that you go with a sprint car.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a big, fast place. And if you can get the car hooked up and find that groove that you can go forward in, you definitely, I mean, Sean's proved that you can start dead last there and come to the front. So it's going to be a good one.
What are you going to try this year to get you a little bit better? Because you've been there. You're right there. You're on the cusp of it. What is that little thing you're missing to beat, say, Sean or Chuck?
I don't know, luck. You know, you watch it. Those guys run the cars harder than I do. I pay all my own bills, so I can't. You know, I gotta be thinking about that too. And you know, we get the most out of what we got. You know, without going over the edge, and I can't afford to do that. So I'll do what I've done. That's why I've been in this deal for 22 years. You know, because I do just what I can afford to do and what I feel I can do. And I don't think it'll be any different. Hopefully, we're still right at that edge, and we can still run up front and get a few wins, and hopefully the championship again.
Now looking at this year, you know, we'll talk about this Utica race. You know, you mentioned, you know, your budget and all that. It's near the end of the year, so at that point, if you got a little extra in the budget, do you push it a little bit harder, knowing that hey, it's almost the end of the year, we only got a couple races left?
Yes and no. You know, maybe. I did that this year. You know, we put some money into the car at the end of the year, trying to get the championship, but instead of running the car harder, I put new parts in the car. You know, that's how I spent the money. It's not that I kept the money and saved it to run the car harder and hope I don't crash. You know, try to keep the car number one, so that when you go on the track, the car, I know the car can win.
Right.
And you know, like I said, that's how I've done pretty much everything for the last 20 years, and that's what we'll continue to do.
When the difference between the championship and second place is so close, is it hard not to go back and re-race all the season and try to find those points that you're missing?
It is. You know, well, I can name 2 races right now that probably were the biggest thing. But
and what ones were they?
Frogtown or Mohawk, number one.
All or nothing at Mohawk.
It's all or nothing. You know, and we ran good there this year. You know, I finished second to Perrant that night, and I probably could have won that race. If it had been anybody but Michael Perrant, I would have won that race.
Right.
But, you know, that would have gave me an extra 10 points. And there's a couple other races that Can-Am the second time there. We pulled number 12 for the feature, and Chuck drew number 1. Chuck won the race, and I finished 12th. It was one of them nights where you couldn't go anywhere. You know, if I had that, if I'd have drawn 6th, you know, there's another 30 points on top of it. You know, you can go back and forth every race and look at it that way. But it is what it is, and it's over with now. So we'll try to do what we can do this year.
You know, one of the things that happened here in the offseason, you know, your longtime supporter, Mount Lang, got inducted into the ESS Hall of Fame. What does that mean to you? You know, that's someone, you know, close personal friend. You know, he's on your race car, been on your race car for as long as I can remember. What did that mean to you?
It was great. You know, Malcolm's probably the main reason I got into sprint cars. You know, we were doing the modified thing, and when Malcolm went sprint car racing in '87, you know, I really paid attention to what was going on with him, and we did the big block thing until '89, and just something needed to change. So that was '92. We bought the sprint car and went sprint car racing, and you know, it means a lot to see Malcolm get inducted and to be the first one, because to me, Malcolm will always be Mr. ESS. You know, to do what he did, come in here 6 years in a row, the first 6 years he ran, win the championship, win all the features that he did. You know, he's the one that really set the bar for this deal.
Is it possible to win that many championships now like it was then?
I don't think so.
No.
You know, well, you know what it's like. There's 15 guys that can win the race every night.
Yeah.
You know, back when Malcolm was doing it, not that there wasn't guys that couldn't win, but it was a different time and a different era, you know. And now you win a championship, now you've earned it. You know, like I said, there's 15 guys out there that could win that thing any night.
Yep.
You think that's true across the board in racing now? I mean, modifies and all that. From what you were able to see?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, it's racing's evolved to that point where money's taken over a lot of it, but not all of it. You know, you still got to be able. You got to be smart. You got to be able to drive the car, all that kind of stuff. But money can get you that much farther ahead nowadays. Back then, you know, back when I first started racing, you didn't have two nickels to rub together, so you tried to, you did what you had to do to learn how to be fast. Whether it be, you know, a trick you learn in the shop, or you drive the car differently or whatever. Nowadays, you know, you can go out and buy in our class, you know, you can go out and buy 700 horsepower just by spending money. You don't have to do anything extra to get it, you know. Right. So everything's changed, and you know, luckily I've been able to adapt to that and stay up with the times, and hopefully we can be back up there this year.
What would it mean? You know, last year so close to getting another championship. You know, you've been right there the past few seasons. What would it mean to you to get another ESS title, especially in this day and age where you're competing against Steve Poirier, you know, and Chuck Heaving?
It mean everything, you know. That's what one of the big heartbreakers was last year. You know, I'd like to win one more championship in this deal before I'm done. I'll be 50 years old this year, and you don't ever know how much longer you're going to do it. I know I'm not ready to quit racing yet. You know, I know there's a lot of rumors about it and this and that and the other thing, but it would really mean a lot. I've been saying this, I think, 2005 is the last time I won a championship, and I've been saying since then, you know, I want to win this title one more time. So to be able to do it now, you know, like I said, it's a lot more. Poirier's have money, and Chuck's got money behind him, and to be able to beat the money, I think it would be even more satisfying for me.
How much fun, you know, even though you're competing against those guys, you're competing against Steve, you're competing against Chuck, how much fun is it on the ESS tour, you know, like the Saturday night of Fonda Speedway where we rain out, and I walk up, and who are you standing there chatting with? You and Chuck are talking shop, talking racing. I mean, how much fun is ESS because of all that?
ESS is the deal. I mean, you know, I did the modified deal, and I've still got a lot of good friends. Johnny Moravec's here tonight, and Mark Oster. I can name off guy after guy after guy. We used to drink beer at Dundee until they kick us out of the place, you know. and things changed over time. And then we switched to Canandaigua, and you just didn't have that. When you get guys doing it for a living, you know, Bob and Alan and Danny, those guys aren't interested in being your friend. They want to go out and make money.
Right.
So, you know, the ESS deal, it's a club deal. Everybody's there to have fun, and it shows. You know, I'm good friends with Chuck. We were at Chuck's shop party last week. You know, even though him and I were tooth and nail for that championship last year, and a lot of people thought it might tear us apart, it didn't. You know, I called Chuck the day after the deal, and I said, hey, look, whatever's said, whatever's done in this deal, you and I are still good. You know, I don't hold this against you, and I hope nothing happens between us. So, you know, that's part of the reason this will be my 22nd year in ESS is the people that we're involved with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 30 years ESS this year, 22. That's impressive. That's an impressive streak you got going.
It is, you know, and 30 years ESS is my 30th year in auto racing. I started in '84, the same year you guys started.
You know, and I'll be 33. So, I mean, how's that make you feel?
That makes me feel old there, buddy.
Well, Lance, you know, we don't want to keep you here all day. Well, I mean, we'd love to have you all day, but I know you got some things to do with the daughter today. We always like to give people a chance. Thank your sponsors. Thank those that help you out here. Mention them, give them a plug, and then we'll let you get going and have some more food. I don't know if you had enough to eat, but I know I did.
I've had enough to eat. Yeah, you know, Mike, you've probably heard this more than anybody. If it wasn't for people like Mel Lane and Lonnie Locklade and Ryan Daly at Daly Electric and the Pazziados of Penn Yan Mini Storage, you know, I can go on and on and on. Kurt Shuttleworth. People have been behind me, Johnson Farms, since day one. I've got guys that have helped me since the first race car I've ever had. And, you know, if it wasn't for that kind of support, I wouldn't have survived 30 years in this deal.
Well, hey, thanks a lot, Lance, and we look forward to seeing you at the racetrack. Hey, Only 4 weeks away here to the opener. I know I cannot wait to get the Sealands Grove, man. I'm pumped about Sealands Grove.
It's going to go quick, too. You know, we think about it, it's almost February here, and once February gets here, it seems like winter's over with. Yep. So it's time to get cars out and start working.
I'm fine with that. Well, again, hey, thanks.
All right, guys.
Again, Lance
Thanks,
Young.
Lance.
Thank you.
Former 2-time ESS champion. Came home right there this year. Oh, so close, but, you know, hey, it's great, you know, to have a chance. And that speaker really sucks today.
That seat, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go. Just like you guys talk, I'm gonna go mess with it.
It's probably best just to
Hey, you know what? It's not going to jump into the what? That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kind of bump in the table there. Almost took out the camera. We're trying to get this fine line that we walk when we do these live shows, because you've got the speaker on one hand that you got to keep happy, but you also want to keep the levels up so everybody's listening at home. Now we can't get it balanced for whatever reason. We had it working earlier. We're trying to get the folks at home so that you guys can hear us at the same time. We can have everybody here. I'm bringing everything up, but I'm afraid about once we put watch. It's going to do it right now. Oh, it looks like we might be okay. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay.
Are we good?
This is live at its finest.
Yeah, I know.
Well, John,
Yeah.
you made the trip out. I'm glad you could come.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm here.
How about this place?
It's nice in here and it's full. Look at the people here.
I know the Seneca Lake Duck Hunters Association up here on the hill.
Man. You know what? It's just about that time to. You saying turn it off?
Yeah, I'm saying so.
You know, it's.
I'm thinking that's probably the best way to do it, just to so that we can at least get a decent recording out of this.
How's the recording going online, or is
recording's fine? Nobody can hear us.
Nobody can hear us?
No. You have to have a mic solo.
All right, I'll pop it off.
Yeah, probably the best we can make. Who's coming on next? We got all sorts of people lined up. Who's up next? Where's Dean?
Dino's over there.
Dean's got to come out and talk about his schedule. Yeah, are we off now?
That's better.
All right.
How many listeners we got?
We had 18. They're hanging in there with us, which is cool. But I was nervous about them not wanting to hang out with us.
Yeah, how about now? It should be better if we just turn that mic off.
Yeah, we had to kill that. Yeah.
How's that? Is that better now? And now it's loud.
yeah, we're not losing so much.
Yeah, tell us how the people at home have it. Tell us how they're hearing it. Your parents are listening, so. Dino, if you want to hop on, come on over. Yeah, we'll grab Dean Reynolds while he's sitting right here.
Yeah, we got Dean Reynolds. Dean Hoag's going to be coming on a little bit later on. We've got Bob Miller, who's got the vintage DVD collection that he's going to be coming out with. I'm anxious to talk with him a little bit about that. And, of course, we don't want to forget Dean Reynolds now joining us here at the table.
He's not bashful about bringing his beer on the show, is he?
Shy.
Nope.
Not shy at all.
What do we do?
Actually, I'm kind of
Yeah,
thirsty
we had to
myself.
turn the speaker off because it kept
feeding back so bad. We
feeding
had to have
back
it so
bad.
quiet.
I don't know if it's because we're inside or.
Probably, it could
It's
play
got to be
into it.
something.
Well,
We
it's
put it
not like a
behind
baseball
us.
stadium where you had the delay, did you, or anything like
What's
that?
that?
Did it sound
Like the
a
baseball stadium where you have a delay.
I wonder if
you know,
we
you
put
see
it
the
behind
national
us if it would be different. I
I don't know.
Obviously, in front of us does not work. We've tried that multiple times.
We've done it. We've had good luck when we get it further away, but now we're inside. I don't know
It
if
just,
changed
yeah,
dynamics
I
or
don't
what.
know. I don't know. But
Well, I'm glad they turned the fire off behind us, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
hot in here. Holy
Is
cow!
that not a great setup? I mean, the way that this building is oriented is
This
awesome.
is awesome.
It
this
looks
is
good. It
You
looks
know, when we
good.
came up the hill, we
Their
thought we were coming
Facebook
to
page.
somebody's house.
Their Facebook page is set up as a nightclub. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the dance floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go dancing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
You can dance with the
Dance in
ducks.
Motorsports, it's not
Yeah,
gonna be
I can dance with the ducks. I can
Well, our
dance with
live
the
viewers
ducks.
are telling us that this is better, so we're going to probably ride this out. Unfortunately, the people that are here can't hear us, but they're here for the party anyway. There's
They're here
tons
for
of
the
food
food.
and everything.
Yeah.
We're having a good time, no matter what.
Dean
so.
was telling me before we went on about all the stuff that he couldn't talk about the schedule and the events and everything.
So what's
like
on the
that.
schedule?
So what do you got?
Well, I get actually we can let out a few things. I mean, right now we're going to start out with a non-point show April 6th at Sealands Grove. We're going to do a challenge race with their cars down there, 2,500 to win, 250 start, because we got a full point show at Sealands Grove this year. We're really excited about that.
And
That's
Utica
awesome.
Row. Utica Row.
Big money. We got
Oh, yeah.
4 races
God,
at Utica.
yeah.
3 for points and then
Coal
the one,
Cup.
the Coal Cup, which
7,000.
just came out today, actually.
But didn't you come out with that name
yes,
on the show?
I did.
That was yours, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was mine. That
Yeah.
was mine. Yeah, and you wanted to have a name because you got the Silver Cup, you've got the Gold Cup, you've got all
Stanley
these races.
Cup.
Yeah,
You're not-
exactly. So
Chicago Blackhawks.
every track
Easy now.
has their big name show, and Utica, we're having a prestigious event. I mean, $7,000 to win, 500 to start for 360 sprint cars. It doesn't get much better than that than the
You know,
Canadian
this
Sprint Car
right here,
Nationals.
I don't know if we got into this on the show when the Coal Cup name came about, but I went on an absolute rant with somebody down in Pennsylvania who promotes. They don't necessarily promote races, but they promote derbies. But it's the same thing. If you want your show to be big, regardless how much money you're paying out, if you want to be big, put a special name on it. And make it
right,
special.
exactly. And you know where the name came from? If you saw the press release today, there's no one that deserves more credit at Utica Speedway, honestly, than Gene Cole. Gene Cole has been at the Speedway, almost 10 years
But he's
now?
a private guy. That's what's unusual to see his name on something.
I can tell you this. He did not...
Finish Line Web Design back on board as a sponsor, right?
Yes, Craig. Oh, yes. Best DIRTcar award.
He did not want the race. He did not want Coal Cup, but we talked him into it. As a way to... I mean, he needs to leave a legacy there. I mean, he left, the book, obviously, the home of the heroes. No, he's not sick or anything.
No.
He's just getting
and
older.
Here's why I asked, because you keep saying that he needs to leave a legacy.
No, it's just that he's...
When you're mid-70s and own a racetrack and a business, and his insurances, how many... He's got like 20 branches.
Right.
It's just they're all over
the point he's at where it's for sale. And at any point, somebody
it
else
may
can
not
own
be
it.
his.
Right, and that's why I think it's important to have a memory of what Gene Cole has done for Utica Rome. I mean, if you've read the Utica Rome book, there's been people in and out of there for the last 40 years before he took it over.
But Gene's not going to sell that racetrack to anybody. He made that perfectly clear.
No.
He's going to. Matter of fact, he's been offered the money. He already told us. But he says, "I want it to be a racetrack." He goes, "I want the same crew, the same staff there." He goes, "I'm only going to sell it to somebody who's going to keep this a racetrack."
Right. And that's the way it should be. I mean, honestly. So we're fortunate. I mean, and Gene has done so much for that facility. It's only fair that something at that racetrack is named after him, because he won't let us do anything else for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No matter how much you want to do for him, because of what he deserves, because of what he's done there.
Sure.
I mean, you looked at that place before he took over, and it was just your run-of-the-mill dirt track. But now when you walk in there, it's something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's paved. The bathrooms are clean. Everything is
They have a really
taken
sweet
care
gazebo that let a bunch of loudmouths set up and have
Fat loudmouths on a 90-degree day.
What tracks do you see nowadays where the promoter takes the money he makes and money he might not make, and yet it all goes back into the facility?
Right.
What tracks have?
Yeah, he's never put the money in personally for himself.
No.
Yeah.
What tracks have $10,000 to win modified races 3 times a year and a $7,000 to win sprint car show?
That's true.
There's not many tracks in our area that we're fortunate enough to go to that have that. And that's why I think it's important to have something there with Gene's name on it.
Well, this is a big deal
for what he does
for sprint car racing locally, because really this is the last chance we can get a big 360 race in Central New York.
Right.
Because since the Bully Hill died out, which was a great concept back in the 90s, every 360 show really hasn't been profitable for the promoters. Everyone's lost money.
Right.
Gene's taken this one last gamble, and really this is the last shot. And he said that if the show is successful, wait till you see what this is going to pay next year.
But he's also, exactly, that's, you hit on... You beat me to it. He's the kind of guy that doesn't mind losing that money. He
said, if I lose a little bit on this show, it's going to be bigger next year.
Yeah.
Because he lost so much in the Lucas deal and the All-Star deal. He loves the All-Stars. He loves the Lucas Oil Late Models, but they just didn't make money.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're losing $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, it gets old.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you can only try it for so many years.
Yeah. So, hopefully it works out and it's a good deal. I know I'm excited. I know there's drivers in Pennsylvania that are excited. We've heard a lot.
Lance Young was already talking about it back here.
We've had a lot of people that have already said, I can't wait to go to that show. They love Utica Rome. It'll be interesting to see who shows up from what groups. URC's on board. The Patriots are on board. Scone is even on board with it. So, I mean, we got the Schweeken cars on board. So you have everybody that's anybody in 360 sprint cars in our area on board.
Right.
And we just got the entry form sent to us email today, so the entry form is done now.
Yeah, it's on
so the entry forms are starting to go out.
Speedway.com for all the latest news notes on that.
The purse is on the entry form, so the teams can see. I mean, it's a $28,000 A main purse.
Yeah,
it's $7,000 to win and $500 to take the green. So it's a good chunk.
You're walking away plus $125 tow money.
$125 for tow money if you don't make it.
Wow.
If you don't make it. Yeah.
You don't see that in this day and age very often. Promoters going out on a limb and spending that much money on a race. You know, so hopefully
it'll be a good show.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I am pumped.
Well, I think our show the Labor Day week Sunday before is going to be a pretty big deal, because I think you're going to see some teams come in to try to track out.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
going to make our show bigger.
And that's why this race was able to come about, is because now the New Yorker's been moved back to Labor Day. Labor Day's had that void. It used to be rolling wheels, and then now that we haven't had much there the last few years, and now Utica Roma's stepping up. They're going to run their New Yorker event on Labor Day
Just
itself.
like the Victoria's on Memorial
it'll be
weekend.
a Sunday,
Right.
Monday, 2-day show, so you can spend the night
So we know Bombas will be partying.
Yeah.
He'll be camping out overnight. So
playing polo short shoes, having a good time.
we know he'll be there. He'll be there on Wednesday like he does for Grandview for
Yeah,
for the
no, he'll be
76ers.
there 2.5 weeks before. That's how he works, right? What about Grandview? Not
Sorry, not for that race.
You know, you bring up Grandview. How about Frank Cozy leaving sprint cars and going back to run Big Diamond in Grandview?
That's cool.
That
I think
sucks.
it's cool.
I'm surprised it took this long, to be honest with you.
They got a win last year.
I mean, I was glad to see him trying something new, and I understood why he did it. But because of the lack of success, I'm surprised it took this long.
I don't think it's lack of success. I think the
I lo-
difficulty level.
I do appreciate that he did stick with
I
it and
think-
didn't bail after the
I
first year,
think
though.
It was harder than what he thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Oh, he
But,
told
you
us
know,
that.
But when we talked to him, and he said that Port Royal win almost meant as much as Syracuse.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
What's that
that's,
tell you?
we're talking a
What's
Saturday
that
night
tell
at
you?
Port
Yeah.
Royal.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
a Saturday night feature.
Yeah.
We're not even talking
Wasn't
anything
even a special
Yeah,
show.
we're not talking
It's-
Tuscarora.
Wasn't
here. We're
Tuscarora,
not-
right.
no,
Yeah, we're
no.
talking a Saturday night
Yeah.
feature at Port Royal.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and for it to mean that much to him, that's
But, you know, he did it by himself. He had one crew guy to help. Maybe, you know, he got tired. Maybe he gave it a shot for 2 years. He's still got the sprint car stuff, though.
Yeah,
He said he hasn't sold it.
And he
So,
admittedly will
yeah.
tell you that he was completely lost in the
oh yeah,
beginning.
the first
Just
year
lost.
It was
yeah,
tougher than he
no
thought
idea.
it was going to be.
No
Yeah,
idea.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his
Yeah,
first races
but
aren't
who
almost
doesn't? I mean, you can't.
Yeah, it shows you how
that's-
tough that Central PA circuit is.
Right, it's not like jumping into a 360.
You're not just going to
no
go
offense.
run.
No
You're not just going
offense.
to go run a sprint car. Period.
No.
It's not like
I
Chuck
mean,
Keating.
w-
Chuck
Yeah, but
Keating
especially
is
that
exception.
region.
It's easier to switch from a modified to say a 360 because you're up in the
Yeah.
horsepower and
Yeah.
the weight to weight ratio, you know, the power to weight ratio.
Yeah, but I don't even
But you're
think
not
that's-
going against running the best of the best in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
you're running against 10
Guys that
guys
beat
that could
the
go
Outlaws.
run with the Outlaws
Yeah.
every
Right.
night if they wanted
And,
to.
Right.
you know, the team's got outlaw budgets. I mean, Lance
Yeah.
Young will tell you he had a 410 for a couple years back in the
Yeah.
90s, and he used to go down to Central PA, and
Yeah,
he had
he
fun doing it.
mentioned
Bobby
But
that.
Perro did it too.
Yeah.
Bobby
Well,
Perro
Bobby
did the
Perro
same
actually
thing.
started 410s before he came
Yeah.
ESS. He
Right.
actually did the opposite.
Right.
That's why Bobby was so successful when he came to ESS.
But when you look
So-
at when you look at some of that stuff or what they're doing when you're moving from a modified into a 360, you're still running all the same tracks that you're used to.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a little bit of that learning curve too in going from a modified into a sprint car in Pennsylvania anyway.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
Pennsylvania.
I mean, you're talking a Hall of Famer. Frank Cozy's a Hall of Famer, and yet he sometimes didn't even qualify for the A-mains
Is
at
he in
Williams
the top
Grove.
Yeah, he struggled
Is he top 50?
mightily.
It was tough that first year. That first year, it was
It
not.
was ugly.
It was not an easy.
It was ugly.
Yeah, but
Is this
You know-
thing even on? I mean, can you hear me when I talk?
I can hear
Yeah,
you
I
when
can
you
hear
talk.
you.
Yeah. I mean, the
I can
one
hear
thing,
Mallet.
though-
He's right here.
The one thing though that I can say, he's going to Norm Hansel's car, and if you do not produce, you will be done.
You can produce, and you're only going to have a shelf life of a couple of years.
Well,
it doesn't
that's true.
matter.
It is true.
Norm's a tough
Everybody,
owner.
somebody
Norm's
wrote
a
on
tough
one of the
owner.
message boards, and they nailed it. He has
he
an
just got rid of
expiration
the
date.
guy that won
like,
the $50,000 show at
Yeah,
Grandview.
I know.
like,
I mean,
like food manufacturers have an
keeping
expiration
up,
date
Chris?
on the food. He has an expiration
night?
date on his driver.
You all right? Okay.
yeah,
I don't know what happened.
Every
right?
driver of his has an expiration date.
I
They're
like
only
it.
good for so long.
it's 2 to 3 years max.
Yeah.
I hope
Usually
I can
that's
make it
how
home
long.
from this. It happened to Super Dirt Week once. I got tired there too.
Yeah, you slept in a camper, right? Yeah.
I mean,
Norm.
Norm Hansel's equipment is top notch, but
I mean-
it's,
Oh no,
look,
it's the best of the
look at
best.
Stewart. How long does Stewart
If,
last?
if I
You know,
got a
couple
guy
months,
that's
you know?
that wins
It was top notch equipment.
a handful of races, he wins on a generally a regular basis, and then he goes out and wins next to Super Dirt Week the biggest race of the year. That's good enough for me. He's
Let's
gone.
be honest. Let's be honest about Pennsylvania.
He beat Dwayne Howard too, didn't he, John?
And
A lot of people beat him that day.
I've had some discussions about this. There's 3 guys in Pennsylvania. You put them in top-notch cars that are going to win on a regular basis: Craig Von Dorn, Dwayne Howard, and Jeff Strong.
Strong. That's it.
That's
There's
it.
a list. There's
That's
a list.
it. I
Yep.
don't think you can name. I mean, Laubach will get his fair share at Big Diamond. Okay.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you had DeSantis.
There,
and
there's a
Swinehart.
handful.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
handful
Maybe-
of guys
yeah.
that are
Maybe
just
Handler-
one step below.
Yeah,
them.
Handler.
Keith Hoffman
Doug
was a little bit.
Man
Doug
Miller.
Miller. Yeah.
Dan Miller,
Yeah.
DeSantis, they're all that
Yeah,
little bit.
Mimi.
Those 3 guys, though, they are the guys.
And of course,
If
people
you-
here in
Yeah,
Central New York are saying,
absolutely.
"Who are you
Right.
talking about?"
If you have one of those 3 guys, you have one of the 3 best drivers in Pennsylvania in
Yeah.
dirt modified small block racing. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, I don't think you can put anybody else on that list. Just the accomplishments of those 3 guys are undeniably better than everybody.
They are the
if they
big
ran
3.
the Super Dirt Series for a couple of years, they would be right there in the top 5 in points.
When,
They're
it,
that good.
when it comes
They're
to
that good. They just need to
PA
learn the tracks.
modified style racing, they're the big 3. Like what we grew up in the '80s watching Outlaws. It was always Kinzer, Sammy, and Wolfgang. They were the
Right.
big 3. Well,
Right.
it's the same thing.
Right.
They're the big
yeah.
3.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I don't think Cozy is going to come out of the box on fire because there's going to be a readjustment period.
Well,
I
you
think
don't,
it's
you
going
don't
to
know.
be
You
tough
know,
because it's
It's
they
so
slam
much-
bang.
I
so
don't know
much.
what
it's
to
so
expect.
different now. You
It's
know,
tough.
He could come out and win the first race. You don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
You know
we
that.
wish-
You know
we
they're
wish him well,
both
'cause
capable.
Frank's an awesome guy. If you ever talk to him, he's
Yeah,
awesome.
we had a nice
he's an
long
awesome
conversation
guy,
with
but-
him at
Hagerstown.
Hagerstown.
But I got a feeling he's
The
going to get
things-
tired of it.
The things
Yeah.
off the record that we can't say were better than anything I've ever gotten on.
He's
the
a
record.
funny dude.
I drank
He
at the
was
Dirt
funny.
Motorsports banquet one night with Frank Cozy. You want to talk about stories?
Yeah, he's a
This is
riot.
back in the
He's
90s.
a good time.
This is back when he was young.
He's a good time. So, but so this year we're ready to go.
I think he'll be all right. It's just the question is how long will be in the car, and it doesn't matter if he's got success or not. The question is how long will he
Right,
be?
and if he's not,
he might go out and win the first 6 races
But
he
the
runs
problem is,
and still get fired
the
at the end
question
of the
is,
year.
if he's not successful right out of the box, how long is Norm going to have him? That's the problem.
Well, how long will Frank
want to do
put
it?
up with it too?
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
know. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Frank is a legend, and I think Norm is going to have a longer leash. I mean, he's not like he's bringing in a kid.
Well, you hope so.
You know?
Well, Strunk
Well,
was
he's-
a legend, and he got 2 years.
You hope so, but he's a funny
Yeah, but
dude.
that could. I think that was probably just a deal where, it came to a surprise to Jeff. But marriages, they go bad.
Yeah.
They go bad more times than not.
Yeah.
So.
It just
Yeah.
he's too unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get out of Norm. He's a
And then,
funny dude.
I mean, like Howard with Heinemann. How many times they've been together and now they're back
They're back
again?
together
So
again.
They go their opposite ways. They come back.
I guess it's like
Pouch has driven for him
the Petrusca
15
car is the same
times.
way. How many guys have been in the Petrusca car? That car won Eastern States 3 years in a row with 3 different guys.
Yeah.
Hetzler, Higbee, and Danny Johnson. I mean, it's.
And you'll probably still see Danny in that before it's done.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I
Bobby's
think
gonna
Bobby
do
will be
well.
fine,
I think
too.
Bobby will do
Middletown.
well in that.
Yeah,
car.
I mean, bag.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah, because when it comes to Orange County,
It's Jeff Hachmann. Has he been trying to get a hold of you, Chris, or no?
I don't know. I don't know.
You want me to?
We talked about trying to have him on.
yeah, I thought we were supposed to have him
Yeah,
on.
we were supposed to have him on.
This is impromptu radio right here. You gotta
Yeah,
love it.
how
Hey,
about
Jeff,
this?
what's up?
Wow, this is we're taking it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
He's talking on the phone to someone else.
Yes.
As
Jeff-
I'm surprised he's not doing an ATT and commercial.
I know,
here.
He,
I got 4G
Is
here
there
on
a
the
number
mountain.
is there a number you want Jeff to call, or
You
want
got him right there, don't you?
You got him right here.
Just use it
You want
there.
my phone?
Yeah, just use
Put it on
speakerphone.
speakerphone?
Put it on speaker.
Hold on 1 second here, Jeff. You want to go right now, Jeff?
Might as well.
Are you fully dressed and ready for it?
Now's as good a time as any.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me
Yeah,
put you on
so-
speakerphone here.
So whose headset we gonna steal his? Yeah. All right. Hey, we need your headset. Remember, you got to put this on the where you talk so we can hear.
Yep. We got Jeff Hachmann joining us on the line.
Now hold it up to the mic.
You want to go this way?
Yeah, I'm going to turn that up. Hopefully Jeff can hear us. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Where's your speaker on that, Dino?
His speaker's on.
No, maybe we won't
Can
have
you hear
Jeff
him?
on.
Can you hear us?
I got the volume all the way up too.
Is Jeff there?
Well, he's got to be able to hear us.
He's
too,
gotta
Dino.
hear us,
He's
that's
got to
why
be able to
you
put
need
the
that.
headphones in there.
Put it between the phones, between the ears.
Where's your speaker on your phone, Dino? That's what needs to go here. The part where you hear him.
Look at this. AT&T at its best.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Speak, Jeff. Talk.
You gotta have.
Okay,
All right.
All right.
So we're getting somewhere.
So now we want me to do it ahead.
Now you got to put the headphones where he can hear you.
Them
Hear
talk.
our questions. Sorry, there, Chris.
Go ahead.
Can he hear our questions or no? Jeff, can you hear us?
Okay.
All
There we
right.
go.
All right. And I can almost hear him. Can you hear him, Chris?
I got him pegged about as high as we can get it to go.
Well, I can move the phone, so
All
if
right.
you want, I
All
can
right,
do
yeah,
that.
get it to where we can
Make
hear
it
him.
make
too.
it work, Dean. Just take care of this.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, get it done. All right.
Jeff, glad you could join us here. First question, just to tell us a little bit about what's going on and how are things coming for Volusia. I guess this might not work out the best.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Did you lose him?
Or did you just hang up on him?
No, he's still there. Nope. He hung up.
That was
Okay. So
Well-
all right. So that
all
worked
right.
out well.
And there goes Jeff Hachmann. Going swimmingly.
We'll move that back up here now.
Let John have his microphone back.
Yeah.
Can't say we're not trying, right?
We're trying. We're trying to get it done, but
Well, I'll give the phone to somebody else, and maybe they can use
Well,
this thing better than I can.
we've run into this problem before trying to get the cell
it's
phone
tough.
to work.
The cell
because
phone doesn't work as
the
well
cell phone
as the
does
regular
not,
phone.
a landline works so much better for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, landline, you got actual. Everything works out where it works.
I was told that I'm operating the microphone the wrong way, but this is the same way that I yell into the microphone there, and all the other ones are oriented the same way. I don't know what the problem is. You guys say you can hear me.
Yeah,
it's
now
like
I
I'm
got
not
headphones
I
on.
can
I
hear
hear
you
you
fine,
fine.
Even,
so-
it's like I'm not even on. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You can't hear yourself.
no, I got.
When we first started, I couldn't hear anything I was saying, but now I'm good. Now I'm
All
good.
right. Well,
I like the.
Yeah?
I feel like I should be on NASCAR now or something.
You want to switch
Do ya?
headphones? You want these?
No.
Sure.
No,
No,
it's
it's
the same
good.
time.
It's the
it's
same
like this
thing.
every time we do a live show.
Yeah,
I
live
can't
show
hear
is always
myself. I
tough,
don't know
yeah.
what happened.
Yeah, want you?
All right. You want to
I wouldn't even worry about it. I really.
You
don't
wanna
think-
try to do it or
We
no?
can try, but it's not working. It is what it is.
All right, Jeff, you're there. Hold on a second, though. I'm going to put you on speaker.
There you go.
All right, Jeff, you're on speaker. Can you hear us? I can hear you. Can we hear you, though? That's the question.
Yeah, we can. I think we can hear.
Actually, no. Why don't you just ask the questions right there?
Why don't I just ask the question? Can you hear me right here? And hopefully, go ahead and talk, Jeff. But we want to know how things are going down at Volusia.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, actually, we got you good. So I'll ask the questions. Right. We got it figured out. I'm eating the phone on one side, and then the microphone's eating it on the other. But we'll ask you, Jeff, how's things going at Volusia? You know, are you ready for Speed Weeks?
With a little decoration, we could run them all night. Right now, we're just tidying up the place. A lot of our new equipment's come in. The track looks good. As much as some people wanted to send pictures and act like, over a month ago, I think some of you saw that on social media, that we weren't going to be ready. But the facility looks great. We're painting buildings, new electrical systems. The track looks great. We're out there promoting it. I'm actually sitting in the infield right now, getting ready to catch the last half hour of the Rolex 24. Here at Daytona, I came in the car so you could hear me. But we've had the sign truck you can see going around Central New York. That's been all around the Rolex 24 the last few days. It was at Citrus Bowl Monster Truck Jam last night. So right now we're just getting everybody geared up for what to do at night after they come here and watch the great racing at Daytona.
Now, I know we saw some pictures. I believe it was it Kenny Wallace that was over there helping you guys do some work? I saw a whole bunch of pictures on Twitter of all the work that you guys were doing over there at Volusia.
Yeah, he was over here testing and gave us a call and said, hey, can I come over and help a little bit? And he came over, and he's been great, with the Twitter and Facebook, and, that Enter the Win contest is on DIRTcarnationals.com. He's really got behind that, and a lot of the drivers have got behind that. And I don't know how many of you have gone on that website, but if you go to DIRTcarnationals.com, you can enter your favorite driver from each division or the driver you believe belongs in a shootout for the top 6 in each division during the DIRTcar Nationals, and it's been overwhelming response, and I believe it's really helped with our ticket sales also.
Ticket sales, that's one thing I don't think you guys have much issue with, though, when you go to Volusia. Seems like every night that I was down there for the Outlaws last year. I was there for some of the modified shows. That place is rocking. That place is packed.
Well, you know how it is in putting on events. There's never enough people in the facility. So if we can get that extra 100 people each night, that's what I'm down here for. And spent a lot of time these last 2 months trying to get the media on board. The media kind of gravitates to Daytona and the Daytona 500 and the Bud Shootout. And, some of them I don't even think realize that Tony Stewart and Kenny Wallace and Cliff Boyer and the Dillon brothers and Kenny Schrader and all of them come over and race at night.
That's right.
So when do things kick off down there at Volusia? I know I'm excited. I'll be down there the 16th, I believe. I fly in. I get to see some of the World of Outlaws sprint car action, so I know I'm excited about that.
Yep, we get going February 12th. And we run through the 23rd. We finish the night before the Daytona 500.
So it'll be...
Cool thing about it is, for those of you that know at Rolling Wheels, with every ticket you buy in advance, you get a free Sam Pit Pass. Down here, every ticket you buy, whether you walk up to the gate or you buy it in advance, you get a free Sam Pit Pass. So you can imagine the amount of people we get up close and personal with, Steve Kinzer, Brett Hearn, Tim McGreedy, let's say, some of the other late model drivers that we don't get to see all the time up in the Northeast.
So it definitely sounds like it'll be a good time down there, Jeff. We won't keep you too long. Anything else you want to add? And then we'll let you get back to watching that Rolex 24. And don't say anything about who's winning because Bombas will cry because he's DVRing it right now.
Well, all I got to say is I'm looking at the thermometer right now and it's 74 degrees and there's a light breeze. So I know what you guys are dealing up there. So if you haven't made your reservations yet, I can't think of a better spot to be in February.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Jeff, and we look forward to seeing you here in a week or so. And enjoy your time down there in Florida, man, and enjoy it.
As always, call my cell phone. I love coming on the show.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. So again, that was Jeff Hachmann from DIRTcar down there at the at Volusia. Well, right now he's sitting in the infield at Daytona. John, who's winning that race?
Yeah, who's leading?
I mean,
I don't care.
You will care in about 2.5, 3 hours when you're home. And you're
But that
watching.
actually didn't work out too bad once we got that was all right.
Once we got it figured out there, you know.
I didn't know what that was there at the end there.
No, the hum. We always get a hum. It never fails. We get a hum.
Yeah.
We get a hum. So.
But that worked. You know, it's Volusia does pack them in, and they actually now they just run that track the 2 weeks for speed weeks basically now because they found out that they make the money doing that, and that's what they do. But the track is always in pristine condition, though. I mean, it's some of the best racing is down there at Volusia.
I personally love the Gator Pond. Personally, that's my favorite thing. In the back pit area, there's a Gator Pond. That is awesome.
How about the Gator Trophy?
Yeah, those are nice. They give huge gators.
Cool.
Out.
Yeah.
They're
It's good size too.
You know, it's funny. I was at Motorsports last week, and they had Austin and Ty Dillon on, and they were talking about how their goal between the two of them is at Volusia to win all of the UMP modified races, one or the other. They don't want to let anybody else win it.
Yeah.
I think they won 5 out of 7 or something like that.
They were
or something. They won almost all of them except for like 2 races last year.
And they get like 850 of them down there.
It's amazing.
They're fun to watch there.
Here comes Heat 18.
They're fun to watch there. I enjoy
It's
that.
not fun to do live updates from there. I can tell you that because I don't know the names. So
you're gonna wear your fingers off.
Yeah, your fingers fall off.
Well, there's 18 John Smiths from 17 different states.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's definitely entertaining. But so how long?
Pay no attention.
We've already been on.
I was wondering if she's going to go on a beer run for us.
Ask her.
So
we're on for an hour right now.
Hour? All right.
We've already been on for an hour. We got Dean Hoag's coming on a little bit later on. Walt Allen, if he makes it. We got John Moravec on deck. He's going to come on. Gary Montgomery's here. We'll probably be catching up with him. So, you know, it's going to get a busy afternoon. We got
get your husband a Miller Lite and 2 Coors Lights, please.
So there you go.
There we go.
So,
beer
all right.
right on the
So
front.
here's the question. Dean, we'll let you have one more. Well, get your beer.
Where's he going?
He's got to get his beer ordered. He's got to get his beer ordered situated.
Yeah, we got to get the beer.
You know, we got Brad Kozlowski here. He's got to have his beer on the show.
That's right. Hey, it's Miller Lite.
Yeah. Where's you're wearing a Miller Lite hat? That's good. That's good. It's nice.
Yeah, I got a Miller Lite koozie too.
Koozie too. That's right. I took care of you.
With a Miller Lite inside.
This is my 21st year with ESS. I can have a drink.
Yeah, you're okay.
Are we keeping you guys up?
I'm tired, man.
Am I the only one that stayed out to 1:30 last night?
Oh, am I the only one that's been up since 11 o'clock yesterday morning watching
Hey,
the
look,
Rolex?
the race
That's
is
your
back
fault.
on. The race is back on. Who's leading? Scott Pruitt still leading?
Oh my Lord, will you shut up?
Yeah.
Probably one of the target Ganassi races.
Yeah. It's a Daytona prototype. Definitely leading.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a prototype would be leading right about now.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Is Daytona and Le Mans the only 2 24 hours?
No, there's another one.
Is there another
They did
one?
Dubai.
No.
Dubai. They had 24 hours of Dubai last week. Or 2 weeks ago.
What, they're running in the desert?
What?
I was watching Speed last night and they said it.
Are you talking about the Dakar rally?
You were obviously not listening. They said they were talking about these cars in Dubai.
50-50's.
Now that's the sound system we should have hooked into. Right?
Yeah, I know, right?
That was the one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we should be running
The
through.
fans at home heard that better than hear us.
Yeah. It doesn't take much though.
But
So,
do we want to get some of these other guys that were
Yeah, you want to mix
patiently
it
waiting?
up? That
Sure.
work, Dino? You
Well,
want to
yeah.
grab Dean Hoag? We'll get Dean Hoag.
And,
We'll get
I'll
Dean
give
and
up my seat. Yep.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Get Dean and put Gary on deck, and we'll go that route.
Yeah, let Gary know he's on deck.
So you want Dean first?
Yeah, sure. Dean to Dean. That works.
So I can ask him about these modified races?
You can ask him about anything you
ask
want,
him anything.
John. Just keep it short.
Ask him anything.
Keep it short.
Oh,
We don't need a story.
Listen, dork.
I know. He's not
That
talking
is
to you.
no
He's
way.
talking to me.
That is no way to welcome
yeah,
Dean
that's
Hoag,
not very
owner
nice,
of Black Rock
John.
Speedway.
I'm talking to the dork next to me.
How you doing today?
How are you?
Good. Dean Hoag joining us here from Black Rock Speedway. Well, Dean, first off, how's things looking for 2013?
Challenging as usual.
Yeah. I'm sure with the economy and the way things are, everything's a challenge at this point in motorsports.
Yeah, it is. You spend all the winter getting dates and contracts and shows made, and then you find out that some things you think are historically the same weekend, they change them. Like local tractor pulls and some hot rod shows and things that you're using to help market your racetrack, and they've been that way for years. Now all of a sudden they're different. So that's always a change.
I know there's some dates. I know it's funny near, was it September and October are a little different because Dirt Week is almost a week later, I think, this year than what we're traditionally used to, right? Am I right on that, or am I
Super Dirt
wrong?
Week falls the Monday before Columbus Day.
But it's later though.
It may be later on the calendar.
Yeah, I know the calendar's funny this year.
It'll be the same week.
Yep. So what are some of the big events that you've got planned out of Black Rock here for 2013?
We really put some emphasis on the crate class, which we've had for several years. We've got a 100 lapper to start the season in March, a 50 lapper on a Sunday in June as a special event, and then in November we have a 200, the first ever 200 lapper crate race to my knowledge.
Yeah, I saw that in the schedule.
Wow.
How about that? That's cool.
How many scores are you going to need for that one?
Back when my son was running dirt modifieds, the most exciting, neat races I ever went to was the rolling wheels for the 200s. And to watch Bob McCready come in the pits full bore,
yeah,
decide to
like a
stop
maniac,
about 10 feet before your pits, it was pretty exciting. So we're hoping to rekindle some of that energy of a 200 lap race.
Are you gonna allow the teams to pit on the infield?
Yes, we're gonna have open pit in the infield. It's very questionable. We've been playing around. I personally think a full fuel cell in a crate motor can make 200 laps, but probably depends on cautions.
Right.
And our track traditionally is very, very easy on tires.
Yeah.
But if somebody stops for fuel either early or late, they're definitely going to look at the tires and see what's going on. So it could create just that little edge to make it real exciting.
Yeah, make it interesting.
That's why I like 200 lap races, period. I like pit stops.
Well, it's strategies.
Yeah, that's why I like that. That's why I like that. You know, anytime you get a big, long race like that, the strategy of what to do, you know, what's going to happen and how's it going to play
Will
out.
fresh rubber, if I pit late, make a difference? Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they put a brand new right rear on, 50 laps to go, and they go nowhere.
Yeah,
exactly. But Black Rock is always so nice on tires anyway. I mean, I bet you that tire issue wouldn't come into play. It's going to be the fuel economy.
Right.
Now, you mentioned you got a March race for the sportsman. How scary is that to do sometimes? Because you know, we know early season races, late season races. It all depends on weather. You know, especially as a promoter, it's got to be a little bit more challenging for you.
Yeah, but always, the major thing is find an open date, not step on anybody.
Yep.
So you take a chance on the weather, and you have an open date, and that's the schedule is off a week this year. Columbus Day is a week later, and it shoves everybody. Like the 5 mile point date is into November, which I'm sure the word November just scares everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just the way the calendar came out. So you work from Columbus Day and go towards the end of the season, and everybody's a week later.
Yep. I did notice. I saw the schedule came out the other day, and I noticed you got a couple of modified specials, one towards the beginning of the year and one at the end. What are they going to consist of?
There'll just be a 25 or 30 laps. Same thing we did last year. 1,500 to win, 100 to start. We'll have one in the spring in the March show, and then one of the Dutch Hoag weekend in the third week of October.
Big block and small block?
Yeah, tradition. It's kind of interesting. Last year, I think it was like the top 4 cars. There was 2 small blocks, 2 big blocks, and the track pretty well levels out the advantage or disadvantage of the big block versus the small block.
Yeah, you guys have had some good luck in the past running enduros and things like that, and having the big money enduro races. Are those coming back? Are those back on the schedule?
Yeah, it's in November. We're actually going to put the 200 lap crate race with the 5,000 to win enduro race, 100 laps. That good, two classes of cars for the day, and we moved the demolition derby off that date to a week earlier to kind of separate it because it was just too much for one day.
Yep.
I do like an enduro, just because of the simple fact is I don't mind 4 cylinders at all, but it's even better when there's no cautions.
We went to that enduro a couple of years ago, and it was a blast.
Yeah, true enduro was great.
I loved it. The track was full of cars. It was complete and utter chaos.
That's what makes enduro racing awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Black Rock has had an advantage of too is they've been able to draw impressive car counts for the enduro division, where there are a lot of combative motorsports entities that are struggling to get car count.
I mean, I know the owner of Black Rock. He could probably get 3 enduro cars for these three guys running this lap 31 there. You can number them all 31. You guys could just kind of go at it.
I'll tell you what.
I'm game.
That'd be quite the throwdown here.
Yeah, that would be something.
That'd be fun. I wonder if we can make it to the end though. I mean, I think I got
no problem.
No problem. Yeah,
you can't stop and drink a beer halfway though. You actually have to go all 100 laps.
Pay no attention. Who said you had to stop?
See, we might have to take you up on that offer now. You throw that out there. I think we could have some fun, and I know we like to challenge each other, so it'd be a good time.
The offer's there. I definitely have some cars. I have about 20 of those enduro cars I use for promotional purposes.
You guys still do that where you can rent one for a night or rent? I know I was there a few years ago. I haven't been there in a couple of years, but I know you guys just have a thing where you can rent it and you can go out and race it for a night or something like that.
No, that was the largest financial black hole of my life.
Is that truly the largest financial black hole, or is that second to buying a racetrack?
Probably second to the racetrack. It's just crazy. You just can't. People with absolutely no experience, and they go out there, and all of a sudden they're a race car driver.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, it's. Gary Montgomery brought his minister's son. First lap, he's rolling through the infield. Oh my goodness, this doesn't look good.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth the parts anymore. Is it?
Anymore, we use them usually twice a year. We use them for NASCAR night. The crew guys really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So they do that, and then usually either a fireman or a clergy or police or some type of a benefit deal.
Right.
Nice.
But other than that, and the three of you getting out there and entertaining us, that's about all we're going to do this year.
I like it.
Can't forget
I'm
Rich.
liking that too.
I like it.
Can't forget Rich.
He's not going to show up.
Yeah, he won't show
He's
up.
out. He didn't come today. He's out.
That's right.
And plus, he's
That's
got
right.
experience in an enduro. He cannot
Yeah,
do it.
he's
Oh,
already
right.
done that before.
We need novices.
That's not
We
fair.
need guys that have never done
I've
it.
never done it, so.
Yeah,
Never.
that's the fair thing. And you've never done anything.
I've never done that.
Yeah,
no.
so
I've never done
so-
anything.
Yeah, you've never done anything.
Thank you. I've never done anything.
Dean, before we let you go here, as always, tell us a little bit about your website and where folks can find out information about you. Tell us where you're located and things like that. So again, fans know where they can get you and if they want information, who they can call and all of that.
Mark Suncock's my website guy. He does a great job with it. It's blackrockspeedway.com. We have a contact page on there. My email is blackrockspeedway@yahoo.com. My phone number's out there every place. It's pretty easy to get a hold of us. Track's located at 82 Main Street in Dundee. And we have a pretty interesting group of race events on the calendar for 2013.
No, we're looking forward. I know. Hey, if you're serious about the enduro, I know I'll find a way to get out there. I can tell you that. We will.
Yeah.
We'll be taking you up on that.
Yeah,
All I need is a helmet.
I can get a helmet. I have no problem getting a
Yeah,
helmet.
right.
But well, Dean, we'll let you go and let you enjoy yourself talking here and chatting. And again, thanks for coming on. We do appreciate your time.
Well, thanks for having us. We're watching Kimmy tap dance here in the front. She's,
You gonna tap dance, Sunshine?
Oh boy.
she's entertaining
Tap
everyone.
dancing. Thanks a lot, Dean. Good talking to you. Good
Thanks a
chatting.
lot.
Thank you.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. So Dean Hoag, again, the owner, promoter, Black Rock Speedway.
We're
Throwing down the gauntlet
Where
for
is-
us.
yeah, how about that? They're going to be 30. What I was thinking, we're doing this all wrong.
Okay.
If the car number is going to be 31 on each of the three cars,
Yep.
the cars don't have to last 200 laps. We just need to stagger it out among four people and each lap 50. And then that
Yeah.
car, as long as we stay on the lead lap, we
we're
got a real good
We're
shot at that car
We're
winning.
Good. We're good. That's right. It's gonna be like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We can switch drivers.
Yeah,
come in pits, pop in,
just,
pop out.
just pass the baton, you know.
Hey, you
I
got
think
the-
that's pretty cool.
You got the cup over there. So what we got here?
We got Dean's gonna bring
1987.
Is that the
Look at
Stanley
that.
Cup?
Oh,
That's cool.
That is the. That's
Dean,
not
turn it
the
around
Stanley
so
Cup.
so they can see the front.
Yeah,
it's
the
pretty
camera.
cool.
Yeah, hold it in
That's
front of the camera. There
ESS
you go. Could you go in the
Championship
Hall
from
of
Mel Lane. It's going into the
Fame?
Hall
You know
of
what?
Fame.
Put it right here. Put it right here.
It's going in the Dirt Car Hall of Fame, or the
Dirt
Dirt
Hall of Fame.
Motorsports Hall,
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, that's
there
pretty
we
cool.
go.
In
There we go.
Weedsport.
Actually, you know what?
You want to run over, grab Gary?
Come on, Gary, come on over.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gary
is
and
this
Bob.
what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, buddy.
Right?
No, that's the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, same thing. That's the closest the thing I'm going to get to a cup other than the Cole Cup. So.
I'm sure that's never happened with that either, right, Mike?
Oh, I'm positive no
Yeah,
one's
I'm sure
ever
no
drank
one's-
out of
no
that.
one's ever drank
No
out
one's
of
ever gotten drunk at a racing banquet.
Never.
Never.
Hey, at least you're gonna get close to the Cole Cup. The only cup
will
I get close
you
to
know
is a
what?
solo cup.
I'm going to find a way to be the one to hand them the Cole Cup. So
Look at
I'm
that.
Good, I'm
Don't
going
drop
good
it.
with that. I'm going good with that. So, Mr. Montgomery, how we doing, sir?
Great. How
Hey,
are you?
Gary, welcome.
Yeah, step right up there. Don't be shy. You're an announcer, you know. You know, I had a
I
great.
didn't come here to do this.
Well, too bad. You know, I got to tell you. I had
Yeah,
a
but
great,
let me interrupt real quick.
Oh,
you
boy.
you might not have come here to do this, but as soon as you saw microphones and you got in racing in the back of your mind, you pretty much knew you were going to be on here, right?
No, actually, I didn't. But
Surprise!
But I'm delighted to be here.
You're here.
Is anybody listening? Where is this going anyway?
Yeah,
This
we're
is
live
going
on the internet.
This
We
is
are
the same thing
live.
that you called in with us before. We got about somewhere around 25 people watching live, and then the replays have been hitting right around 400.
Yeah,
Okay.
so not
So
too
I
bad.
can find it later on.
Oh, yeah,
you can find it on
absolutely.
YouTube and
Well, I'll
all
have to
that.
listen to see what Dean had to say. Dean Hoag did.
Yeah, because
Yeah, you don't want to listen to the other one.
who cares about what Dean Reynolds says?
I will say, you know, Gary, a couple things I know that I'm excited about here. First off, I got to hang out with your champion last weekend, John Waters.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. We had a good
Oh,
time
yeah.
at Motorsports.
Yes.
And he's got a great looking car
He
for
sure does.
2013. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I saw a picture of it from the show on
it's awesome.
online,
It's a
and it
nice
looks
car.
sharp.
Yep.
John is a very good guy. And what you probably don't know is he's even going to probably, like there's a 90% probability, he's going to be racing at your track on
I've heard the rumors.
June or I forgot the date in my pocket.
I've heard the
here.
rumors.
Yeah, that's
a challenge race, so
Yeah,
to speak,
yeah.
between the crates and the BRP Tour.
yeah. That's on our tentative schedule right now. So
Yeah, I'm
I talked to
excited.
John Tiff. I think yesterday or whatever. Cole hasn't approved it yet, but we think it's going to happen. So.
Yeah, that'll be a cool deal. Having the late model. I believe that's a TV deal too, right? It's
I don't know.
With the Go Nuclear series.
It's Go Nuclear series. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's on TV or
Yeah,
not.
I'm hoping so. It'll be a combo event. That will be exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting. How's things been going with the BRP Can-Am Late Model Tour?
Well, this will be year number 11, so the fact that we've hung around that long is an indication it's been pretty good.
Yep.
And it's good. It's not what it used to be, but nothing in racing is what
Right.
it used to be. When we started out, and I've done the analysis on this, back in 2003, when the thing was established, the average price for a gallon of gasoline in New York State was $1.57.
Not anymore.
And it's something different than that now.
Yeah.
Something different.
And that's kind of indicative of all the things that have gone on. But anyway, we last year we had 65 different drivers race with us, 56 events total. That's pretty healthy, and I'm expecting similar numbers for 2013.
Are you guys doing a home track sanctioning now too with like Black Rock, Woodhull, and those places?
Right.
Is that what you're doing now? Like, is that where you've progressed to at this point?
Well, actually, we've been doing that for quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been for a while.
All right.
Home track bonus points, and along with this series, yes. And
Right.
so we're going to do that again, and forever as far as I'm concerned.
Right. What
Yeah.
tracks can the guys go to get points at?
Raceway 5 and Woodhull and Black Rock on a weekly basis, and then Little Valley. It turns out that Little Valley only has 6 races scheduled, but for what it's worth, the home track bonus points there too, and all their races are series races, so it doesn't really quite.
Right. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to get your home track points there than per se somewhere else.
Right, when there are 20-something races at Woodhull,
Yeah.
and that has been the we've been doing that same formula forever, and it really turns out that Woodhull track, because he has more races,
Right.
So anyway, same deal.
Nice. Are you excited? If all systems go with the Utica Rome Day. I mean, it was a few years ago when you were at Utica Rome. And Mother Nature wasn't kind to us that night. We rained out, had to run the next night. But are you excited to take the series back into that venue?
Yes and no. I would love to go back there with a BRP Can-Am series race,
Right.
where we would take our own 25 or 30 cars, like we did
Right.
the race you're talking about. This combo business, the challenge with the crates is not a good deal. No. Our cars are severely handicapped.
Okay.
But the guy's like Waters, he's dying to race. Try it. He thinks he can do something. And Dean Hoag is the guy that got this going. People had talked about it for years, and I just resisted it. I wouldn't have any part of it. And I went to the race that Dean had last October or November, whatever it was, December, knowing him, I don't know. The day he had 234 race cars total, or 230 something anyway. It might have been 238 actually. And there was a decent mix of the crate cars and our cars, the BRP cars.
Right.
And Billy Van Pelt held his own. And there were more BRP cars than there were crate cars there for that night. And Bryce Davis, who used to race with us, won the race handily. He's a very good driver. And again, with a crate car, he had significant, an advantage in every department with the exception of horsepower. They're down about 30 or 40 horsepower over our cars, but they weigh 400 pounds less, or 300 or 400 pounds less, and the suspension is different, and tires are different, and they're real race cars, and ours are mongrels that are not.
Are you guys still based off of? Originally, it was more of was it a street stock chassis or somewhere along that lines? Not so much the full-blown late model chassis.
Right.
And now is it slowly heading that way? That it'll be a late model chassis all the way, or where are you guys heading?
Well, I don't know where we're headed beyond 2013, but for 2013, we are retaining the rules that we've had all along. And that's been part of our success, is not changing the rules, because rule changes cost everybody money. So our cars are stock stub. There's a Camaro stub in front of the firewall, and from there on back, they are late models just like the rest of the other cars.
Right.
With the exception of, the chassis is. The suspension is different. We have a 3-link suspension versus a 4-link for the real late models, and that's a disadvantage for our cars. But But so that's our formula for 2013, and it's been our formula all the years.
You mentioned the television show. You had a few shows on Time Warner Cable, the Gold Nuclear Series, in 2012. Is the plan out there for 2013?
Well, that's not my deal. That's Shane,
the other one. That's
Shane Tennant's.
That's the Creighton
Okay.
Models. But
All right.
if you run the challenge races, that would be, in theory, the hope, right? I mean, of getting your guys on the TV deal, or...
I'm not so excited about the TV deal personally.
Right.
And I don't know what that deal is for 2013. Right. I know that Shane did it for a couple of races last year, and I'm not sure whether even they were. I think it was way up north.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're
Mohawk.
That's right.
Yeah. And you don't want to go there? That's a ride. Let me tell you, it's a ride.
I'll take your word for it. So television is not, to answer your question, that's not a big factor as far as I'm concerned. All the challenge is something else to talk about. Some of my guys like Waters want to race. They'd race every night of the week if they could.
Yeah.
Of course, he's got a car owner with a lot of money, and so he has an advantage over most of the guys. But so we're going to try this combo deal. In the tentative schedule that we have right now, there are 5 or 6 of those races. And we'll see how it plays out.
Yep.
And then it'll be to be determined for the future, depending on how it works out for you.
Right.
Are you guys going to pay full points for that, or is it going to be show-up points, or how are you going to go with that?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't
Not sure yet.
No, it won't be full points because most of my guys won't even bother to go.
Right.
Right.
Okay, because there's such a disadvantage. I've considered show-up points. I've considered having a separate point fund for that 5 or 6 races altogether.
Yep.
And if I could find a marketing partner to put up some dollars with that,
right.
I'm working on Dean Hoag and others, not to be full-blown marketing partners, but to contribute to the point fund with the race that we had there. I don't know what he had to say about that, but so far I don't think he's buying my story.
Listen, you're here. You got some time. He's still sitting over there.
Yeah.
You might be able to work something out.
Oh, we do a lot of work on that.
So other than dealing with all the stuff that you deal with the BRP Can-Am series, what else do you plan to do this year? Do you go to the races for fun anymore, or is it? I mean, not that the racing isn't fun, don't get me wrong, but I know when you're working for a series, running the series, and doing all that, it takes a little bit of that fun out of it.
A little bit, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
And I only do it for fun.
Yeah.
Chris will tell you, we worked together a little bit a few years ago, and if this wasn't fun, I wouldn't be doing it. But it's still fun. I mean, there's the pressure of putting on a decent show, and the drivers aren't always happy on all the time, and you have to listen to that. But I understand their side of the equation, and we just do the best we can with what we got. So
that's all you can do.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Before we let you go, Gary, why don't you tell us a little bit about where fans can find out information about your series, where the schedules and all of that. If you got a website, Facebook, whatever else you guys have.
I thought you'd never ask. BRPCanAmSeries.com. And I think I set that up with Chris about in 2003. I think he was involved with that.
That was a while ago.
And that's still the same website. And but you won't find a schedule on there yet. I have the schedule. I have the schedule in my hip pocket, and I show it to a few people, but I don't give it to anybody because there's too many things that aren't cast in concrete yet.
Sure.
But I have a very aggressive schedule. We have, I think, 22 races on the schedule, including those 5 challenge races. And then we talked about the weekly series events as well. So there's a lot of racing, and that's not the problem. The problem is getting people in the grandstand and cars in the pits to make all this happen.
Yep. Sure.
And I have Honda will travel.
Yeah, I got a Cavalier will travel, right? Yeah, so I know how you feel on that.
Yeah, the Jeep doesn't go anywhere.
The Jeep doesn't go out of Syracuse unless it's snowing. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about that in July usually. But then again, we do live in New York, so God only knows what can happen.
Right. I got one of those kind too, but it doesn't go to the races.
No. So. Well, Gary, hey, thanks for coming on,
Mike,
sir.
Thanks,
we always
Chris,
appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary.
I don't even know who you are.
I'm John.
This is John Baumus.
Oh, this is the famous from a long time ago, right?
A long time ago? How long? Nope.
No.
Okay.
No, he's not famous at all. He's a
No.
nobody. He's honestly a nobody.
I'm a nobody.
We just let him on here because we got to keep a warm body in the seat. Because Rich is never here, so.
I see. Well, keep Chris in line, and that's the most important.
Oh,
thing.
we do.
That's the challenge.
Yes, it is.
Except at Super Dirt Week. Make sure he tells you that story. Make sure you have him tell you that story.
Thanks for that.
Sunday night at Super Dirt Week.
I'll ask his dad. He'll probably give me a different version.
Actually, ask his wife. That would be a much better story.
Which one did he end up marrying? I never Have a good day, guys, and thank you.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
Thanks.
So again, Gary Montgomery from the BRP Can-Am Late Models.
Which one did I marry?
That was awesome. That was awesome. That was funny. So yeah, I'm hoping they can solidify that Utica Rome date. I know personally, I'm excited about it. I was busting.
Ken in the live chat is eating that up. He is in his glory that somebody just said. So who is John Bombas anyway?
Yeah, I know. Poor Bombas. He's infamous, all right.
It's all good.
That was awesome.
Dean's wandering back. He's got a beer in his hand.
Yeah, I
thought I'd grab a beer and come back on the show.
I hate to do this.
We gotta get Johnny Moravec still. If you can grab Johnny and
yeah, want me to go grab him?
I'm doing it.
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah,
it's gonna get warm sitting back there.
You want to get? We got to get John Moravec and Bob Miller still too. We got to catch up with Bob.
Oh, Mel Thomas Sr.
Mel Thomas Sr. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to catch up with him.
I'll go grab Johnny. He's right at the bar.
Get John?
Go get John.
Let him have a drink. We'll get Bob Miller. Grab Bob Miller. He's right there.
Do you want to come on and talk about your? Oh, he doesn't want to. Okay. He's got the videos here, the vintage videos. They look awesome.
Come on, get over here.
You're not going to want me to do the PR for that history video you did.
More than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. So don't tell me you can't come over here and talk on a headset.
We all know you got the face for radio, but come on over, Bob.
Won't come over.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll plug that video for him.
He'll plug the video for you. You're lucky.
You know, Bob put together this history video of all the great racetracks and stuff, and I'll tell you, for $30, it's a must buy. I mean, I had that, and it was awesome. It was amazing. I'm a history guy. But this is before all my times. But this is good.
Does his case have any? Can we show it with? Or is it just a clear case with a disc? Has he got a picture we can show it on the camera?
I have no clue.
It's
Bob.
It was
Hey,
planned.
Bob, you got a sample DVD we can see? Your history video? Can you get one for us?
Bring it over.
Can we see it?
It was awesome.
He just pointed to a table.
Bob,
It's over there.
I thought you were a salesman, Bob. I mean, I can tell you don't work out, but man, just to get the DVD.
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black.
That's the only reason I can get away with saying it.
Wow.
Bob and I go way back. We used to.
You want to share, Bob?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There we
See,
go.
I knew if we goaded him into it, he'd come over. Boss,
What's going on, buddy?
Good to
This
have
is
you,
awesome.
bud.
What's going on?
So there it is. So
The heckling. The heckling finally broke it.
There
What?
we go. He wants to see it.
There we
well,
go.
Bob, hey, thanks for coming on the 31st lap here. And I know Dean has talked nothing
Yeah,
but
it's too far away.
he was talking.
We need somebody to hold it up in front of the
He was
camera.
talking nothing but good things about this DVD on the way here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's on it, what fans can expect to see it, and where they can order it, and so on and so forth.
All right. I put it together after getting a hold of a bunch of this video. There's 21 tracks on there, all stuff that ran here in New York. It's roughly 5 minutes a piece on all of them.
That's cool.
Some are a little longer, some are a little shorter. There's Naples, Canandaigua from 54, 55, Naples from 53. There's Oswego. There's, oh boy, Palmyra. Trying to think what else is on there. But Shangri-La's on there. There's
The
Lafayette.
original, not Shangri-La 2,
Right.
the original.
The original
Not the
Shangri-La's
concrete.
on there.
No.
Yep. Let me see. There's Perry, Watertown. There's 21 tracks. I wish I had the list.
That's okay.
It's okay. Don't worry about
Hey,
it.
we put you on the spot, so don't ever feel bad. I know if I guilted you enough, you'd come over. So that's why I had to keep busting your chops.
Well, I knew you weren't going to leave me alone.
No, yeah, exactly. That's how we work. You know, Bob and I go way back. We go way back to the Dirt Track Digest.
He looks thrilled.
The beginning of Dirt Track Digest. We used to go to a lot of races together.
We did.
Then he scared the hell out of me driving it. I stopped going with him.
Did you ride in the
A
Ram?
little bit.
I drove in the Ram. You just hang on, man, and hope he's not snoring.
Yeah. Back some people on sidewalks, you know.
Yeah.
His story about his trip to, I believe it was Dodge City, is still the best story you've ever told.
Dodge
You
City.
put it on Dirt Track Digest about the girl.
About the what?
The girl, would she hit you or something? You were on your way to Dodge City,
I
right?
was in Dodge City, and what wound up happening was I was towing a trailer, and I had to make a wide swing into this real narrow driveway pulling into the parking lot. This girl was behind me, made a right-hand turn, followed me around the corner, and then tried to pass me on the right as I was pulling into the parking lot. And she ran, and I wound up hitting her. And
With the vehicle.
I hit her in the door because she was trying to pass me on the right, and then she's yelling at me and everything like this about not knowing how to drive and so on and so forth. She's like 13 and whatever. I mean, I got 1,000,000 miles accident free on the truck, or driving truck and everything like this, and I got to hit her in Dodge City, Kansas.
he wrote this whole story on Dirt Track Digest. I remember reading it, laughing my ass off.
It's funny. It's funny. Bob, this is just one of the number of things you do with this DVD. What has gotten you into the history of the sport somewhat? I mean, I know every time we look at Dirt Track Digest in the forum, you're looking for a racetrack, or you're going to visit a place that you got some aerials from or some old footage from. What has gotten you to this point where you're so into it? I know you're good friends with Danny Odie, and you guys really are two guys that I know. If I ever have a question about a racetrack, you're two guys I'm coming to because you guys know everything about all the old tracks in New York.
Well, if not, we'll find it. But what to do? Gary Montgomery's a lot of it. Yeah. When I first started going to races, it was '72. Joe Monrado was the announcer then, and he's talking about stuff when I was a kid, 9 years old, and talking about stuff from the '50s, which wasn't even 20 years ago. And I just thought it was so cool, And he's mentioning names and so on and so forth. These superstars from the '50s and '60s, and some are still racing. Dutch Hoag was still racing.
Right.
Will Cagle and so on and so forth, and that's kind of like what hooked me, And I don't know why this is, but I remember a lot of stuff, a lot of the stuff that they were saying on the PA and stuff like this, Chuck Sipridge and so on and so forth. For some reason or other, it just sticks.
Yeah.
And then I got a hold of Danny Odie, and we started talking and everything like this. He's infectious. I mean,
he's a good dude. He's a very good dude.
And probably my favorite person I've met on the internet. There's no doubt about that.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Jeez, I thought I was right up there.
You guys are in a league of your own. I mean, if I
yeah, we are. Yeah, we're wearing skirts with high socks. A league of their own.
League of their own. Yeah, that's what. No, but what I'm saying is, me and Danny, we've gone around looking at these old dead racetracks and everything like this. We went down to Victoria Speedway, and we actually turned the last lap there.
I've seen the video.
That's down Sloansville way, right?
Pardon me?
Victoria Speedway down by Sloansville, Cobleskill area? Yeah.
We talked to the current property owner, and he allowed us to take the video camera around the track and do one more lap around the racetrack, and I thought that was really cool.
I remember my dad showing me that place when I was a little kid because it was closed. Because my dad was a kid, and he got to go there.
Right.
And, of course, when I was a kid growing up, it was closed. And I remember being a kid a few times, driving past it, he would show me where it was.
Yeah. No, but I just think it's kind of neat, and finding the tracks that aren't mentioned in any books or anything like this, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And I'll be surfing the satellites and everything like this, and you read one of the things like you go like the Allegheny County websites, and they're pretty big into the racing history and everything like this. And you read what some of the drivers will say. They ran at this particular town or something like this, and now you got to find that racetrack.
Right.
Yep.
And you don't even have a name to go by.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool stuff. It's just fun. I get obsessed with it at times too. You get a little bit of information and you got to find it.
Have you ever?
I know how you feel. I mean, being a history teacher, you find something out and you learn something about somebody, and you want to know more, and that becomes your mission, no matter what, to find it out.
Well, you're big into the Gettysburg things.
Oh, see, the Civil War stuff. You and I, we've ridden together lots of races. I could talk about Gettysburg for 9 hours. I can tell you everything you want to know about Gettysburg, and that's the same thing for me. That's my passion is Civil War stuff. So, I get you. I think it's awesome. I enjoy seeing your posts on DTD with the new tracks that you found. Like one of the recent ones, you made the overlay of the track, right? That was you had where the track was,
right.
The aerial photo you had, then where it is
where
modern
it is.
day. Yeah,
right.
And I thought that was awesome. I enjoy that, because you're teaching me stuff every day. So I appreciate it.
Have you ever gone to see the location of the old Menands Speedway?
Yes, I have.
Where was that?
Oh boy.
Do you know? You probably don't know the area very well, do you?
Putting them on a spot.
You're putting me on the spot here. I mean, if we had a computer and we're looking at a map
right.
and everything like this, I could show you where it's at. But at any rate, one of the things you got to look at is aerial view. you can see in the background in some of the old pictures, this old bridge. They've moved that bridge.
Okay.
And where the bridge is now is like almost right where that track was.
Because I've always wondered, my old job several years ago, I used to drive a delivery truck, and I used to go through Menands a couple times a week. Right. So I always wondered where the racetrack. I had heard about it, but I never knew really where it was.
Now, other than this DVD, I mean, what are your plans to do with this history stuff? I mean, you ever think about starting your own site and maybe doing something?
I have. I wish I had the funding to make it happen.
And where you could put a list of all these tracks. And what about, getting with somebody, maybe putting a book together or something like that? You ever thought about that or taking it to that level?
I've thought about it. Me and Danny Odie would like to collaborate and do something, like video-wise and like this. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a writer. And I don't think that I could make a book happen or anything like this. I don't know where it's going to go. Danny Odie and we've talked about doing something, an A to Z track history of New York State. I'm interested in other states and everything like this, but as far as the history is concerned, I'm from New York and I want to know all there is to know about it and everything like this. I just found another track here just a couple weeks ago here that nobody had ever heard of, the West Sweden Speedway. It's just outside of Rochester. Nobody had ever talked about it, and it's not in any history books or anything like this. And I found an ad for it, though. And
now it's time to find out.
Now I got to find the track, and I just...
I remember you found traces of something a couple years ago in our old hometown of Fort Plain.
Yeah,
do you remember that post a couple years ago? He put it on Dirt Track Digest. He asked if anybody knew about Fort Plain.
Wasn't it that area?
It was something about Fort Plain. You had found traces of a track there somewhere, and I know I asked you about it, but I don't recall what you told me.
Yeah, I don't remember. You do so much of it. I mean, it's what's the holy grail for you right now to find? What track is it that you got the name that you just haven't been able to figure out where it was? Have you had one of those yet?
I think I just found it.
Is this the one now? The West that one?
Nope. This happened within the last week. Talking with Rick Perry, he's a buddy of mine, and he's got that Jack Johnson the old Falcon car there. He had an air view picture of what was called it was known as Goody Speedway, and it's actually Little Falls Speedway is what the official name was.
That's near us.
Yep, and so Danny Odie had known that it was on this particular road, and so did he, but neither one of them knew exactly where the property was. And I bet I spent, and I'm not kidding you, 12 hours surfing the map.
Just looking for anything you can find, remnants.
Yeah, any traces that look like it could be.
There's no remnants of the track there whatsoever.
Yeah.
And but I found the property, and I was kind of pretty proud about that because what I had to do was lining up trees and a hill and a hillside on the other side of a road, and then an intersection that you could see in the picture. And I finally found that. That was pretty cool, and I just did that this week. Matter of fact, I got a morph on Dirt Track Digest there. Finding this track, saying, it's the coolest racetrack that I ever found.
That's cool.
And was it 5/8? I can't understand why this track didn't mention 1952.
Big 5/8.
Big.
Everything was 5/8 back then. I mean, it seemed like, the tracks that were.
Yeah, a lot of them were old horse tracks and things like that.
Yep.
Fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Was this the one you made the morph of that I was talking about a little bit ago?
I think so.
And you said, and it's banked and it's hardcore fast. It had to be hardcore fast. For 1950s.
They had walls around it and the whole 9 yards. I mean, way ahead of its time. And then the thing that was really cool about that particular track, people would pull into the parking lot and then they would walk to the edge of the parking lot, and then the grandstands was there, kind of like on the idea like what Fulton.
Okay, where you walk. Where track's in a bowl.
The track sits down, but the highway runs right through the grandstand area between the grandstands and the racetrack. So the people, the spectators, would actually have to look across the road to watch the race. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome.
It's pretty neat. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. But, there you go.
Well, where can people get a copy of this? How can they get a copy of it? Like I said, I think it's playing over there right now, right? Do you guys get it working?
We finally got it.
Nice. But where can they get it? And how can they contact you? Give them a number, whatever, and hopefully people buy it, because I've heard Heard it's up there. Heard it's awesome.
DIRTX at rochester.rr.com is my email. They can get a hold of me at 585-526-6951. Send me a personal message on Facebook. Dirt Track Digest. I'm on Race New York. I mean, I'm easy to get a hold of.
Right. And how much is it? And again,
$30 to cover the shipping. It's
Okay.
$25 if I see you in person. $30 to cover. Yeah, $145. That's what it is.
for Dean, it's $145.
There you go.
Price is going up, you know.
Yeah, it's $25 at the track, and then the extra $5 is to cover the shipping and the packaging.
If Dino can sell one for $145 for you, he'll get what, $2?
He can have it all. I don't want to be associated with it.
Well, hey, Bob.
Hey, thank you.
Great having you on, man.
Yep.
And again, keep up the great work. I enjoy it, and I know
No,
I'm not the
saying
only.
that.
I know we all enjoy it so bad. And
go.
for the record, one last thing: 410s are better than 360s.
No. We'll have me back on later
Hey.
on, and I'll tell you what, we'll get into that argument.
Tell him that's only without the win.
360s.
Bob?
Wait a minute, 360s is what you do, buddy.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know. Yeah. You know what's funny? The first time Bob and I ever talked back on Dirt Track Digest, we used to live chat. We had a chat room. We'd hang out and chat.
Yeah, remember those?
Yeah. And him and I would go at it. I'm like, sprint cars suck. I hate sprint cars. I don't ever want to watch sprint cars. I could care less about sprint car racing. Sprint car racing sucks. And then what do I end up doing? Sprint car racing, being a sprint car junkie. So
Right.
thank you, Bob. At least I'm a sprint car junkie, all right? Give me that, all right, buddy?
Welcome into the program now. Don't be afraid to jump right up on that microphone.
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
Moravec?
Get right up here close.
Yeah,
There you
jump,
go.
Jump right up in there. Welcome to the 31st lap. John Moravec.
Water wagon.
Yeah,
Yep.
been a while.
Everybody remembers that car. I saw some of the T-shirts wandering around. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
When was it that you got out of racing? I don't really remember ever being a formal exit or anything. You just kind of didn't do it anymore.
No, we were coming up the back stretch at Canandaigua, and the motor let loose. We tangled a valve, and at that time, we were in a position where did we want to spend the big bucks and go to the CNC heads and so I could keep up, or get out? And it was about mid-season, and we just, at that point, everybody had been racing for, I don't know, darn near 30 years, so we figured, let's get her done. We're done.
What year was that?
I think it was 99, 2000. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
You know, it's somewhere in that era. And then I drove for a few other teams for a while, and dabbled around that way and had a lot of fun doing that.
Do you miss it?
I do. Ran a couple years ago, and Brian Swartout offered me his backup car for a few nights. I guess that's going on 3 years ago now. We ran 5 nights and still could turn left okay. Yeah, I miss it.
Do you have any of the equipment left? I mean, do you have any of that stuff still laying around, or is it all gone?
He's asking, he just wants a door panel.
Yeah, there's a roof.
No, you got me.
There's a roof or two, and one is kind of mangled up there when we got our first upside down there.
All right, so okay, then I
So
can.
there you go. You got a roof.
You got a roof.
You know, what is it tough to come to stuff like this? You know, you miss racing. Is it tough to come and hang out with all this and get back to all those old memories of what it was like to go to the track every week and have fun, or no?
Oh, not at all. I like the guys. I miss that part of it. I miss all of it. The only thing is when we first walked away from Canandaigua and got out of there, I didn't go back to the track for a long time. I drove a car or two.
Because you couldn't?
No, it'd drive you right nuts. I twitched too much here watching everybody else going around out there, you know, and just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I can't imagine being out of the sport because I don't think I could handle it. I mean, especially being.
I can't. It's no different than any other addict out there. It's withdrawals.
Crazy. I would go crazy.
I go 5 minutes without thinking about it. I got withdrawal.
No, when you sit there and you've been behind the wheel for that many years, and it's not just me. There's a lot of guys that have raced for a long time, and when they get done, when you go back to the track, it's
not the same. Yeah. And that's what everybody that drives says. Yeah. With me having never driven, being a fan,
it's different.
Like I said, I go 5 minutes, I'm having withdrawal, not thinking about racing, but I never drove. Everybody that drives, it seems to be the same story.
you get almost anxious. You sit there and you watch you guys going out there, and you want to be out there for sure. And, you might better just stay away for a while. And I stayed away for quite a while.
Yeah.
People in the live chat, there's a guy on the live chat here. He's with us every time we go on. And he just gave you a pretty good compliment. He said, that dude looks like Richard Petty.
No. I need my sunglasses.
Yeah, without the hat and the glasses, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You take what you can get, though. You mentioned you ran a few years ago. If the opportunity presented itself, are you going to get back in a race car and go do it again?
If it was probably a small block, I don't know, maybe big block.
Probably a 360 sprint car.
Yeah.
I
saw you talking to Lance Young over there. He trying to talk you into it or what?
That was the only one that I was ever took a ride in with Lance's. He let me take about 10 laps over at Black Rock many years ago, and it was absolutely a ball.
It's a lot cheaper than a modified, just so you know. Just saying, for cost purposes, he said money, I'm just saying.
The difference was, though, you're going around there and it's his car and I was all by myself.
Yeah.
And that open wheel thing is a whole different ballgame.
But would you do it again?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You mean go racing again?
Yeah.
Oh, I do not regret any of it.
No.
I mean, you do spend money, but, I'm 57 now. And I know darn well that you couldn't put your body through what you did back then. And so you might as well play when you're young, because when you get old, you can't play quite as hard.
It's a very physical sport. It really is.
I need to get a race car then, because I'm still young. I only got a few years left.
Well, when I got out, I had neck injury or, starting to bother. I ended up fusing 6 and 7, and that bothered me for a long time. And so that was another reason why it was a good time to get out.
Yeah.
That's, you look at the guys today. What do you think of racing today as compared to when you were, a regular? I mean, even though it's only 10 years ago, even earlier than that. How do you compare today to then? Do you think it's more difficult? I mean, what's your thoughts on racing today?
I think that maybe I'm prejudiced. I think I was fortunate enough to race in the heyday, especially for the big block mods. Although they are making a comeback, I believe now. A couple years ago, I went over to Canandaigua, and I was not impressed.
Yeah.
The track was terrible, stones. It was bad. When we were running, if the people weren't in the stands by 5:30, you weren't getting a seat.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not like that anymore.
No.
Well, you had Plazak, you had the Johnsons, you had everybody was there.
Yeah, everybody.
You had different drivers, and the times were different. They were definitely different.
Yeah,
Economy was a different story.
And it was easier.
There were a lot less things to do.
You could get kids into the sport. Nowadays, kids rather sit home on their butt and play video games.
There's so many other choices for people to do as opposed to, say, 20, 25 years ago.
It is. But I went over there a few times this year. I took Dad on Father's Day, and we watched a race and watched the guys run. And I have to admit, it was a darn good show. You got, Matt and Danny were over there running, and Alan, and, some of the guys I don't know, and
Jimmy Phelps.
Yeah.
Got it. Money.
But it was a really good show. Yeah. And some of the old dogs still can get around there, but some of the young ones are doing all right too.
We've been having a conversation. Area Auto came out with their 50th top 10 drivers of the last 50 years. They've been being published for 50 years.
Right.
Brett Hearn was number 1 over Richie Evans, Billy Pouch,
Frankie Schneider, Kenny Brightbill.
Brightbill was in there, Fred Raymer.
Horton was in there.
Jimmy Horton.
Dick Tobias.
Will Cagle.
And
Danny Johnson. Who would you put as the number 1 guy you've seen or you raced against?
Remember, this is the Northeast, not just strictly dirt modified.
Who would you put as number 1?
Out of that list, how do you choose? I don't know.
Exactly.
Moravec and his junkyard jet.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how you choose. I mean, Brett was a heck of an ambassador for the sport for many, many years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of the guys sprint cars, some of the guys all different areas. I don't know how you would choose from
that's the thing. The paper covers such a broad area, whether it's dirt modified, it's sprint cars, it's pavement modified, it's whatever. I mean, they cover a different spectrum.
I will tell you my favorite story from the whole event was when Danny Johnson said, "Yeah, Will, do you remember this when I was a kid?" Danny Johnson walked over to Will Cagle when he was racing weekly at Canandaigua, and he asked him for an autograph. you know, and Will Cagle signs it for him. Danny takes the piece of paper, rips it up in his face, throws it on the ground, and turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't need to add to that.
But
that's funny.
at Canandaigua, who was the best when you were racing there?
I watched Bob McCready,
Yep.
and I can't tell you how many features in that one year. And
Not in the
not
top
just
10.
at Canandaigua, but all over the
Everywhere.
Northeast. And I think that year they calculated he was in the $300,000 plus or $350 bracket that he brought that year in
Right.
winnings.
And at that time, that was a
That's
lot
a
of
lot of
money.
money in the
back
80s,
then.
yeah.
And,
Crazy money.
Was that the year he won 50 races or something?
Something
it
crazy.
was
Yeah,
Something like
back-to-back
that.
years, and
Unbelievable.
then 92, 94, some years, and they're back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 50
he
wins.
was running stagger at Canandaigua that, you know, everybody else gave it at least one shot. Nobody was making it work but him.
Did you try it?
Oh, yeah.
How'd it work for you?
It didn't.
That's awesome. That is it. When you went to the track, I'm sure you had guys that you always leaned on or went to, like if you needed something or you had questions or whatever. Who was that go-to guy for you at the racetrack?
In the early days when we were running small blocks, you know, at Dundee, back when it was just Dundee Speedway, at that time, you know, we started actually, went to Lindhoff for help when we were first getting into mods. He was the best at the time.
Yep.
And he kind of helped us scale our car and get us going. But in that era, which was probably truly the most fun I ever had racing, was with that group of guys at that track, with Malcolm Wayne, with Dougie Howard, with
Walt Mitchell.
Oster Howe, Mitchell.
Yeah.
I mean, the list of the guys back then, and if somebody had a problem, they were all there to help you.
Yeah.
They would run you hard out on the track, but you know, somebody needed something when you came in the pits, and they'd be right there. When you graduated to big blocks, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You could go up and ask for help or whatever, but I didn't travel like a lot of the guys did. You know, we ran one night a week, and you could talk with the guys, and they would help you. They would answer your questions, but it's a little bit different when they're running for a paycheck.
Yeah. It's funny. That's exactly the same thing that Lance said.
Yeah.
When he went from the small blocks at that time and then moved up to big blocks for a few years, it's exactly the same thing he said earlier.
Yeah, there's a little bit more of a distance there between the guys. Everybody's, you know, talk with you and you know, but you just, you know, when we were at Black Rock, there was a lot of nights we probably should have gone home a little bit sooner after the race. And, I mean, we just have...
I think he told us that one, too.
Yeah, isn't that why you do it, though? I mean,
yeah.
I can remember, you know, when I first was old enough to really do what I do in racing, you know, I never raced. I like leaving with money in my pocket. I always use that joke, you know. But we used to spend the night at Afton, and we'd be in the pits till 4 o'clock in the morning, just hanging out, having a couple of drinks, and just talking racing. I mean, and that was awesome. That was fun, you know.
Yeah, and you know, you don't get that much anymore. Of course, the laws are a lot different today.
Yeah.
So nobody hangs out much at a racetrack anymore. You can't. You don't dare.
Yep.
And so maybe so. There was probably a few nights we shouldn't have hung around there quite so long. And I don't think I'm the only one, or we weren't the only ones. But you know, times have changed.
Yeah, and you're right. Put the drinking and the laws aside. Even if that didn't come into play, the people don't stick around like that anymore and just kind of hover till whenever. There was no rush. Now everybody just can't wait to go home, and it's a rush.
Racing.
Who can get out of there first?
Racing is like the only sport I think that has a following like this, where you are counting down. The minute you get to the track, you are counting down until you can go home.
I mean, you put it all as a whole. Like, I count down the hours. I'm like, all right, I only got 4 hours, and I'm going to be back at the track. I can't wait. But then once you get there, it's like, all right,
you're doing is counting to leave.
Let's go. Let's keep the show moving.
Absolutely. Another caution flag.
And the longer you're in it, the more you do that.
Yep.
You know, you burn out after a while.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Mike.
Yeah, I'm burned out. Yeah. No, well, listen, you go to 112 races in a year and tell me.
I did once.
Once, yeah, I do it every year. Yeah, we'll get to that point. But what's the most races you ever raced in a year?
Oh heck, you can't talk to me about stats. I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you. I like that. I like that answer.
I couldn't tell you how many.
Is that because
wins
of too
I
many
had.
nights partying until 5 in the morning?
Could be part of that. I've got some brain cells missing. I never counted wins. None of that. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't.
Could
even
you tell us about
you.
a win though? What's the most important one to you?
Well, the one I had the most fun with was back in the days racing at Black Rock or Dundee at the time. Osterhout and I. It was a 20 lap. There was twin 20s that night, and we had a particular race. I got it on film someplace, and the track was rough, heavy, and we must have swapped leads 4 times back and forth in traffic. We lapped about almost all the field, the two of us, and it was just you never let off the throttle. And I don't know. We didn't know at the end of the race until that flag dropped who was going to win it, and I never forgot that race.
Yep.
That's cool. I see. Modern day guys hate tracks like that are put the throttle, put the foot to the floor.
They're all about
they
the
want
slick.
the slick and the shiny.
Yeah.
When you drove, did you have a preference? Did you like the slick? Did you like it? What did you like?
The older I got, the more I liked the slick.
Yeah.
When you were young,
you just want to go.
You want to go.
Yeah.
And the thing about a heavy track is everybody's fast.
Right.
And that's why the guys that have been in it for a while kind of like that slick track because now your foot comes into play.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Aside from your weekly tracks that you always visited, Black Rock / Dundee, Canandaigua, was there a track that you only got to go to maybe once or a handful of times that you really loved?
Yeah. We went to, I think it was Cornwall, on the Ithaca Gun Series, and I don't even know what year that was. I believe it was Cornwall. We drove up there and just across the border. The track officials were super. We got there. The track was just all glazed up, and we bought a tire from a guy they were allowing drag rubber at the time. We bought a used tire out from the guy.
Yes.
And so we had to come up with this 106-inch or 10, or I don't even know anymore. It was big, and we're riding around there on the bottom of the track. And I'm running 10th. And we did this for 20 laps. Nobody is moving. And it's like, I'm going to go to sleep. So I pulled out a line and went to the top, and that tire hooked up. And we drove from 10th to 2nd in like 3 laps. Whoa. And just as we were taking the lead, they dropped the caution for some reason. And, so by that time I'd shown everybody that there's something out there.
Yep.
And the leader, because I was alongside the leader, on the restart, he went up and he went up on top. But we had a mechanical problem, and I ended up 5th later on in the race. But that was a lot of fun that night to sit there and nobody dares get off the bottom. It was like, heck with this.
Right.
Got to go for Cornwall. If you've never been to Cornwall, it was banked, right? A little bowl, quarter-mile bull ring and banked like that.
Itty-bitty track.
Yep.
I think they tore the bleachers out that night. They were replacing the bleachers. There was quite a party up there.
Nah, it's just a Sunday.
That sounds like Canada.
Yeah, 5 in the morning again on a Sunday night, right now.
That might have been where some of those brain cells went.
I can relate.
Yeah, you got none left, man. Need to tell you. They're gone. They're gone.
I know Miller was talking about earlier how he remembers things when he was a little kid.
You don't remember anything.
Certain things stick out, and he remembers. I don't remember crap.
No, I live week to week. I mean, you run your race, and you couldn't remember the next week hardly unless you won. You remembered that,
and even then, you only remembered because the trophy was sitting on the kitchen table.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that get there?
That's awesome.
Live in the moment.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome. So what do you think?
Well, we got 2 to go. We got 2 more people that we had scheduled, so we'll get them over, and we sure appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. That's cool.
Guys, well, thanks a lot.
That was fun.
Thank you, sir, man. Great chat.
We'll
Thanks, John.
You guys have a good day.
You too.
We're looking for the Ovens crew, and then also we're looking for the Yaws, too. We're going to catch up with one of the MCA drivers that we couldn't get to. Here he is. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I got to use it.
That's fine. You can take a quick break. Jump right in here. Well, I got there we go. Got it? All right, look at this. We got Creekside Entertainment, which is pretty cool. Stu Ovens and Steven Ovens. They run Creekside Entertainment. It's a DJ, photo booth, stuff like that. And Steven contacted me through Facebook, and he said he was going to try and be here. You guys are running an interesting promotion for racers, which is pretty neat.
We have for a couple years now. We usually, on a regular party, we get like $200, $225. For a race car party, we charge them $150. They have pictures and slides and stuff that they want to do to it. Most of the time, we have enough computers and TVs around. We can help them out with the slideshow. And being old-time racers as we are, we kind of know the people and what's going on as far as sponsorship and money, and do as much plugging for them as we can at the race car party and selling it for them.
Sure. Online, it's creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can get a hold of Stuart, 315-481-9700. That's Creekside Entertainment at yahoo.com. How long has this been going, and is this also an extension? I know you were real bit heavy into the karaoke.
That's an extension of the karaoke. We've been at it about 6 years now. We're full-fledged DJ now. We still have the karaoke option, but we do more DJ, a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
We just bought the photo booth. We are the official photo booth for the Nighthawks out of Rochester, the lacrosse team. We're doing all 7 of their home games. We're up in the lobby.
Oh,
they
that's
give us
cool.
a contract to do that.
I love indoor lacrosse. Love it. I wish we had a team in Syracuse. I would go every game.
Right.
That is bar none as exciting as hockey. I love indoor lacrosse. Love it.
Steven's running the photo booth up there, but I think it's March 30th, we have the deck. We have tickets for sale, and we're going to be up on the deck where we can take 100 people with us. So,
wow.
That was pretty big when that came through. The photo booth is all brand new to us, and we're doing whatever we can to promote the photo booth.
Sure.
Race car parties, we've done Bub Brunell's for 2 years now. He just booked us for his again this year. We did his. We did one of the Greery boys last year. And I can't remember.
Both
there was
friends
a
of the
third
show?
one we did.
Do you get into much announcing anymore? You still doing that? I know you do.
I still do all the announcing at the fairground.
At the fair.
I've been up there almost 30 years now.
Wow.
doing that. That's fun. That's kind of like my old home week.
Sure.
I've had jobs where I told them when I took the job that 1 week during the summer I take off. And
right.
If they hassle me after the fair's over, I have a new job.
Right.
Just one of them things that I don't know. I've been there a long time. It was through my father-in-law that I got into it, through the Demolition Derby, and it wasn't long after that I was announcing everything up there.
So what's the farthest you've traveled for a DJ gig?
Buffalo, Syracuse, Binghamton.
Yeah? Wow.
We kind of we're up to date on our digital stuff, so everything fits in a minivan, or Steven's got a trailer. We go all over the place.
And are you out of auto racing now and just focusing on that?
We've been out of auto races. This is where this came from. When Steven and Brad went to college, I got bored. Dad had to do something. Fridays and Saturday nights were just not the same. So I got started in it, never dreamt that Steven would get into it, and now we have 4 units. We have about 6 people.
So this is full time? There's nothing else?
For me, it's full time.
It is.
I'm trying to make it full time.
Trying to get there, right?
Yeah. It's getting there. It was a little shaky through the winter, but after this year and the photo booth gets up and running, the photo booth has been a big asset for us.
I mean, the deal with the Nighthawks had to change things immensely.
Oh yeah. We had an inside source there. Nate Snyder graduated with Steven, and he's pretty big into that and the executive end of it.
Right.
And him and Steven had been talking, and Nate called Steven on the phone one day, and that thing blew up in like a week, and it's pretty big. We were on the Teletron 3 times last night.
How about that?
That's part of the contract, is they put 1 picture a night up there, and then our name is all over it. So yeah, it's pretty big.
Cool.
Promotion wise.
Is it Kurt Stiers that still owns the team? Is it Kurt?
No.
Or is it somebody else? I know
yes,
he did.
Yes, it is. It is Stiers and
he sold the
else.
Rochester Americans, but he owns the lacrosse.
Still talking about lacrosse, right?
Yeah,
because he sold the hockey team.
Right. I pay attention. Like I said, I pay attention.
The team
to
is
lacrosse.
gone, and actually this Saturday night they're going to have Tony Stewart there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
They got a meet and greet with Tony Stewart.
Nice.
That's a promotion. That's a good cross promotion there.
Yeah.
Is that the lacrosse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That'll be at the home game next Saturday night.
Nice. So if you're a Tony Stewart fan,
yeah. Make sure you get out there.
Yeah.
Get your picture taken in
and
the photo
you know
booth.
What? Just go to a Rochester Nighthawks game, just because it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And
it's fun.
Steyer, he usually drives Steyer's car at
Schwegen.
Schwegen.
Yeah, he did okay with it too.
And it's the off season, so support the other local stuff.
Well, I support that. I will try.
When it's racing season, you go to the racetrack.
Well, I try to get to the Rochester Nighthawks once a year because they used to sponsor Danny Johnson. Remember, he used to be the Americans and the Nighthawks on it. So I try to get to one of their games a year.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people do.
March 30th, we'll give you a real deal on it.
That's something that a lot of people don't know about Mike, especially the off season. He is a huge local athletic supporter.
I love hockey, basketball, and that even that Rochester. I'll drive the hour and a half to go to a lacrosse. I love indoor lacrosse. I'll say that again. Not as much as I love Eastern States, but I love indoor lacrosse. That's a running joke we have on here. I love Eastern States.
He loves everything, but nothing as much as
I think I'd rather go to lacrosse.
I'm a 30-year Syracuse veteran, so we've been going there for a long time.
I thought you said you go to the races.
Wow.
He said it's not the same anymore.
I gotta make my jokes.
We're old time racers, and when I go up there, my boys will be right out front with you. You don't want to go for a walk with me because if you go for a walk with me and get done talking to everybody you run into, you ain't coming back for 6 hours.
Actually, I'm similar. I don't remember everybody's name, but I think I know everybody, one way or the other.
Yeah, Mike's a minor celebrity. He'll tell you.
Yeah, thank you, minor celebrity. We'll do autographs after this if you need.
He's the show.
We've always had fun, and like I say, the race car parties, we're a shoo-in for that because we know what's going on. We know how hard it is for the racers to come up with the money, so we work just a little extra harder at them.
Nice.
Well, when's the next one? Other than the stuff going on March 30th, when's the next party? Open invitation?
Nick Delino from Palmyra.
Sure.
His is February 9th at the Firehouse just north of Fairville.
Everybody go.
Firehouse in Fairville. Nick is one of Big Mike's. Big Mike and them travel around together. Nick raced before. He was out for a few years. He just got married, just had a new kid.
Yep.
Now he's building a race car. I don't know how he can do all that in 1 year, but he's putting a sure try. Nice
you got
to
try.
Yeah, he's a big demolition derby man too.
Oh yeah.
And then Bob Brownell's is February 23rd. At
you got a busy month coming up.
Club on 318, Gun Club on 318.
Nice.
Yeah, you got a busy month coming up.
Oh, we got a busy month. It's knock on wood. It's been a really.
There you go. You can knock on that.
I was going to use my head. But I didn't want to go quite that far.
That's wood. This is.
We've had a real good year. Things are really coming loose for us. So.
Well, we sure wish you the best. The website again, www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can get a hold of Stu, 315-481-9700, creeksideentertainment@yahoo.com. They got plenty of parties. Keep an eye on the Facebook. Check out the website. They'll let you know where they're going to be. Go crash some parties and support some local racers.
And we also are one of the new mobile websites on your smartphone.
Oh,
you
check that out. They got an app.
on the smartphones.
Nice, all right.
Technology has just gone ape wild.
The phone is only smart if the operator's smart.
Yeah,
true story. I just got mine a month ago, and I ain't quite smart yet.
He's had his for 2 years.
Thank you for having us on, guys.
Yeah, man.
No problem, man.
Have a good one, man.
We got to catch up with the yaws now from our leftover stuff from the IMCA show. One guy that we did not get a chance to catch up with, we'd like to catch up with here now if he's out there, but he's not really paying attention.
Where is he?
He's over there. They got their coats on. I think they're getting ready to leave.
Are you going home?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are we that bad? Are we that boring?
Well, we're pushing 2 hours. Yeah, they can't hear us because the speakers off.
Oh,
now.
that's right. That's right.
They don't even know there's a show going on.
Yeah, I know. You gonna go get him? Hey, Phil. Just yell across, man. We've been yelling at everybody all night.
Yeah, I know.
Like Bob Miller, we yelled at him already.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm yelling at, so I'm not yelling.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who it is.
Chris, you can just get up and go, and him and I'll talk.
We can talk, I think.
Did you get enough Chili Bowl talk in the last show? Are you good now?
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
I wasn't there.
You didn't get any Chili Bowl talk? How can you
I wasn't there, so no. They mentioned
Kevin
who
Swindell
won.
won again. Did you get the interview yet, John?
No.
Thanks.
Be honest with you, I haven't even texted him.
Come on.
Not since I first texted him.
Call him on the phone. Just call him up.
Remind me tomorrow.
He left.
Oh, he left already?
Yeah, he already took off. The gentleman that was pointed out is Phil. I haven't seen Phil in probably 6 years, and I don't remember what he looks like.
Remind me tomorrow to text him.
It was the guy that I stopped over there was actually Michael Bryan. It wasn't Phil at all.
Oh, nice job.
Yeah,
nice job.
It's cool.
Way to go.
Nice going.
Somebody pointed him out to me, and I'm willing to believe it. I haven't seen him in a while.
Do we have? Since we got a little bit of time, do we have a representative here from the Seneca Lake Duck Hunters Association? We have on. Where's our host at?
Yeah, where's Sunshine?
Rich.
Yeah, where'd Rich go?
Kimmy's over there telling a bunch of drivers what they're doing wrong, so she's tied up, and Rich isn't that interested in.
He doesn't want to do it.
No,
No.
I mean,
Okay.
we just got to. But we do before we get out of here. We do have to make sure that we say a big thanks to the folks here at the Seneca Lake Duck Hunters Association in Penn Yan. This has been an awesome venue. It's
Dean,
been
you have fun
a ton.
The food
ton
was
of
great,
fun.
and the beer was cold. That's all that matters.
That's right.
There you go. Pretty much
But
knocked
what
it out
a
of the park
backdrop,
right
huh?
there.
Look at the geese.
Yeah, I know. I
ducks
thought they're,
are-
aren't they
it's
ducks?
great.
They're ducks.
Ducks. They're ducks.
You know, it's funny. I wish I was on when Johnny Moravec was here. He dropped the word Ithaca gun shootout.
He-
I'm like, oh my god! I remember those days.
Yeah,
dude,
right?
Yeah.
dude, he specifically asked to not have you on.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it was,
I
it was the
mean,
most awkward
trying to talk
moment
him into
we've
getting a
ever
sprint
been
car,
to.
so that's why.
He said he would only come over if you weren't here.
Well, you know, it's funny when he mentioned about how he got older, he liked the slicker tracks, but he was one of those cushion bangers when he ran at Canandaigua when I went there on Saturday night. He would run the high side and run it hard.
I got breaking news.
Yes, I sent it to you.
Breaking, no,
Breaking
not you.
news?
I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to do that to him.
Yeah, because I do know who won the 24 hours.
He will cry. This is the news.
Yeah, let's not go there.
From one of my sources within the sprint car ranks.
ESS is going to have a speed week on July 4th.
Lucas Wolf
Lost his ride, yeah.
to the Buffalo Wild Wings number 82.
Ooh.
Really?
Wow.
The Henderson
Yeah.
left ride.
And Henderson might be going to
good
Furco
back
racing.
to the
It's a nice little ride.
Back
No.
to the 35?
I heard, well, I think Henderson
Yeah,
is
what,
the front runner for Furco.
where did Christopher Bell go? I
He's
read
running-
that he went
he's
to
running
Rick
midget.
Ferkel, and then like a week later he's running
No,
something else.
he's running, I think USAC. He moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
What?
he got a ride. I think it was USAC. It's on
Because
his
he was
Facebook,
supposed to be running for Rick Ferkel
yeah,
in the
no,
All Stars.
No, and he just moved on because he got a big deal with USAC or something. He had to-
hey.
Huh.
Yeah, so
How
you should
about that?
You should know this stuff, John.
Yeah, you should already know this.
I just know.
dropped wingless and USAC in one
I
sentence.
just
definitely
know.
should have already
I
known
just
this.
know that he wasn't
Yeah.
in the Ferkel ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there. Okay. There's your late breaking news. So
There we
So-
go.
if what do you think? You know, I think we had a good day.
I think
today.
we had a good day. I think
I got a question.
Chris has
Mike and I a
bonus
second
period.
ago were talking about this Thursday. Do we have anybody booked for
We have a
Thursday?
show this
We'll
Thursday?
What's
probably
going
catch
on
up. We'll
Thursday?
probably catch up with Phil. Yeah, we do have a show scheduled. If you know of anybody,
I will
that you
not
wanna-
be there.
Okay, that's fine.
You're not going?
No, I'm
He's
leaving
Atlantic
for
City?
Atlantic
Yeah,
City.
he's leaving for Atlantic City. I know
Yeah,
that.
I'll
But
be
we'll,
down there
we'll,
for 2
we'll
days.
do some Atlantic City talk this Thursday. We're going to be back, and we're probably pretty close to going back weekly.
And
at
if you
this
need
point.
me to call in, I can call in from the road.
all right. Yeah, we'll
You always
we'll
say
map
that
it
and
out.
never do.
I will this time. I
You
promise.
can give
Where have I heard that one
play-by-play of
before?
them laying down the Coke syrup.
Yes. Well, actually, Thursday night's practice. If I can get there early enough, 5 to 10. I'm going to leave right after work. So.
The last time we did
Did
this,
you
he was going to
teach
be
at
on
the school?
Skype.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be
Oh,
on
well.
How'd
Skype.
that work out?
Yep.
Didn't work.
Yeah, the Skype thing never did pan out either. Guys, we appreciate it. For everybody that was on the show, it was a great one. That'll do it for the 31st lap live from the Seneca Lake Duck Hunters Association.
Duck
You got it.
We'll
Hunters.
see you
Route
coming up on
14.
Thursday. Don't miss it.
Schlong.